Choosing natural gas? The best plan is the one handpicked by you. Find your rate with Constellation.
Time I met you was 28.
At Capital Group, our active ETFs are meticulously crafted, seeking to endure the ups and downs of the market and make a difference at the core of a portfolio. Which has a nice sound to it, doesn't it? Capital Group, actively different active ETFs.
I was supposed to play this, something that a bunch of comics wrote, like a funny little sketch thing. And I was supposed to play this like tortured liberal arts student, and it was like smoking cigarettes. So they wanted me to smoke cigarettes while I was doing it. So I smoked like 15 fucking cigarettes while we were doing it, and I threw up. I had a fucking horrible headache. I was like, oh my God, I'm so high.
Wow.
I'm like, my arms don't move right. If you've never smoked cigarettes at all and you just smoked 15 in a row during...
Were you like an athlete too?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so that totally fucked you up.
Oh, completely fucked me up. Yeah.
No, the first time I had a cigarette, it's so terrible, but I was like, this is great. My body responded. I don't know how, like what you had is the very normal experience.
Well, it was just too much. One cigarette I actually liked. I was like, ooh, what a head rush. This is kind of cool. I go, now I kind of get it. I get why you guys like this.
Interesting.
But we were doing this thing, and I had to always be smoking. So we had to rehearse. We were doing it all day, and I wanted to try to like feel normal with a cigarette in my hand. So I kept smoking them, and then I liked them, so I kept smoking them.
Yeah, it's a tough thing because the thing about, and I've been sober 15 years from alcohol and drugs, and I look at people that are really drunk, it doesn't look appealing. It doesn't look good. But when you see somebody with a cigarette, it always looks good.
It looks like,
It always looks good. You never say to yourself, like, that person's going to lose. Now, you'll get sick and die, but you never go, they're going to lose control of their life.
Right.
So you look at somebody with a cigarette and you go, oh, yeah, they're having one. They're cool. It's fine.
They're using it to help hang on.
Again, I never look cool with it. It's like you look at an actor doing it or someone at like the Cannes Film Festival.
Penn.
Yeah, someone like that.
Yeah.
Timothy Chalamet has one. He's the size of one, and he has one. And I go, that looks fine. Probably in France or something. You know what I mean? They all do shit like that. So you'll see that, and you go,
You should get a cigarette holder to go with your sunglasses.
Yeah,
one of those
just
Hunter
cigarette.
Thompson cigarette holders.
Yeah.
That's your next move.
I just
One of
got
them
a-
long stems with the cigarette at the end of it.
like 1920s.
Yeah,
Like
old-timey.
1920s. And
Yeah.
no, it's the worst thing because the smell is terrible.
Right.
And it destroys your clothes. And it's very bad for your health, obviously.
Yeah.
But it is one of those things that it's just such a good product. What other product could they tell you? It kills you and we're raising the price every year.
How about in England where they smoke like crazy? You have actual cancer on the fucking cartons.
When you buy them, when I was in London and you bought one, there was a dead baby on one
photo
of them.
of
They
them.
were like low birth weight.
Yeah.
I was like, this is terrible.
And no one cares. They smoke more over there than anywhere.
They smoke more over there. They don't eat the way we eat. Like, they don't understand the way we eat.
Gluttony.
They don't get it. There's something called Toby Carvery, like where you can just ladle on Sunday roast and Yorkshire pudding and stuff. But for the most part, the portions are smaller and people are more behaved in that sense. But they drink more and they smoke.
This is it. European World Cup fans losing their minds over Taco Bell ranch and unlimited refills.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because they get sick. When they come here, they get sick because there's chemicals in our food.
Somebody was telling me they went to Buc-ee's and there was the soccer teams were at Buc-ee's for the first time and they just fucking couldn't believe it.
Of course.
Imagine that's one of the first experiences you have in America. You walk into a Buc-ee's.
Yeah.
And you're from Czechoslovakia or some shit.
It's one of the most American places, as you've said, that exists. You have this gas station, but that's also like a weird theme park of food and all kinds of other shit that you could need.
Yeah, this guy, dude, LMAO this is a gas station.
Yeah.
Well, do you see how big they are?
Yeah.
The first 24 million views. That's hilarious.
No, it's completely alien to their culture.
Yeah.
To have a place like that where you could go buy. The Costco's are alien to them. The idea that you could buy mayonnaise in a bucket or jars and things that you would keep it's all, they all think we're preppers. Because if you go to like a big grocery store chain, you're buying food for a long period of time. They don't do that there. They buy stuff for like the week.
They have small refrigerators.
Yeah, small refrigerators, couple of days.
They don't have refrigerators like we have, but also they don't have the same amount of preservatives in their food, which is why it's not poison.
Right. They also don't think, and they could be wrong about this, but they also don't think that like they're going to lose access because of some race war.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
Right.
there is a little bit of planning that goes into some of these grocery runs that does seem slightly paranoid.
Oh yeah. Well,
Yeah.
the news media over here ramps
Yeah.
you up.
Oh, yeah.
And you
Yeah.
start thinking about stockpiling gold.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Listen,
Well,
when
it's-
I lived in LA, when my kids were young, I had an apocalypse truck built.
Right.
That Toyota Land Cruiser I got, I need a bug out truck. Like a truck where I could store a lot of shit in it and it could literally drive over a mountain. That's what I need. I need a car that's not just a road car.
Right.
I need a car that occasionally shit might go sideways and you got to get the fuck out of here and you got to drive through the desert.
Wow. And and I've left LA multiple times to make that drive. Not in an apocalypse car, but because of fires, because of
yeah.
riots. Like sometimes you
Fires.
just got to get out of Dodge.
Three
You gotta
times. I
leave.
got evacuated 3 fucking times when I lived there.
Yeah.
And it got as close to like burning my fence down.
It's part of the LA experience to get in a car. David Spade called me once during the riots. He goes, "Your block is on fire." I thought he was kidding, but there was just overturned cop cars on fire, and it was like riots. This was 2020. So I just got in my car and I went, okay, and I drove to the desert. That's part of the LA
Yeah.
experience is fleeing.
That's what Palm Beach is.
Yeah. You Palm Springs.
Palm Springs, right?
Yeah, you flee.
Yeah, you flee.
You go.
I mean, Palm Springs makes no sense. It's hot
Yeah.
as fuck. There's no water.
Well,
All
you know
these
why
people
it
are there
started?
with money.
It started because when Paramount Pictures was doing edits, if you were in a movie, you had to be within 200 miles of until the movie was finished editing. It was in your contract. Palm Springs is like exactly 200 miles from LA.
Oh,
That's
interesting.
why. Yeah, that's why they started it. Hollywood. They were like, we own you. You can't go anywhere until the film was edited. So if you want to go on a vacation, you have to go there.
You know what's interesting is like Pasadena was where all the like producers live.
Yeah.
There's beautiful houses in
Gorgeous.
Pasadena, man.
Mid-century modern, beautiful.
Yeah, incredible places like estates that just seem completely out of place.
Totally beautiful.
Like
and
from another time.
From another time.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing in LA now. You get the vibe that your Santino made a brilliant point. He's like, it's not Hollywood, it's Hollywood the sequel. Like you're not living in the thing anymore. You're living in whatever the second version of the thing is.
Right. The second of the
Yeah.
thing is second version is TikToker.
Yeah, whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's not what it was. In every place seems a little bit like a museum or like it was cool 20 years ago or 15 years ago. You know,
Somebody recently said this and it's perfect. They said LA is slowly becoming Detroit.
interesting.
Yeah.
The only thing that might save it is the weather.
The weather will help,
Right.
but the industry dried up.
Right.
So the big industry in Hollywood, regardless of whether or not it was the biggest economic industry, the biggest industry in terms of like cultural value and
Totally.
like getting people to move there was always show business.
Yep.
And they barely make movies anymore.
They overtaxed and overregulated their biggest industry to other states and other countries.
Yeah.
And most people are making things all over the world. And very few things, I think at one time it was like 80 to 90%. Now it's 25, 30% shot in LA.
Wow.
It's a big difference.
That's a giant difference.
a
Well,
big
that
difference.
arrogance of like, this is the best place in the world. Everyone's going to come here no matter what.
Right.
That's the Gavin Newsom attitude whenever he
Right.
defends California.
Right.
Talks about how great the GDP is. We would be the fifth largest economic.
Yeah.
He starts rattling off all these wonderful statistics. And this is like, instead of acknowledging, we've got fucking real problems. People are moving for the first time ever more than they're coming here.
Right.
We're losing all these giant corporations that are leaving. Instead of that, it's just this, we're the shit. No one's, that doesn't matter. I'm very big on California. I'm bullish on California.
Right.
It's always going to be amazing here.
well, it's
Like,
what
just-
every empire said until they fell.
Yeah.
Right? Like
Yeah.
we are the thing.
But people don't want to ever believe that things can fall. It's so weird. We'll walk right through the Coliseum and go, well, this will never happen again.
Right. When we landed in LA, I looked to the right and that warehouse was on fire with 85 billion or 85 million tons of chemicals in a warehouse that was on fire. It was like a multi-day blaze. And you're landing and you're looking out the window and you're just seeing the warehouse on fire. And then there was a car fire on the 405. Like I sold my house, I have an apartment there now, but like as I was going to my apartment, there was a car on fire. And as I was landing, the warehouse was on fire. And you start thinking to yourself, somebody doesn't want us here. Like somebody wants us out. Like it almost feels like we're being evicted by nature.
By nature? Interesting.
Well, by
Maybe
nature-
human nature.
By bad decisions, by everything.
Which is nature.
Yeah.
You know, human nature is
Right.
nature. And the stupidity of humans it's no different than the stupidity of animals when they go extinct.
Do you think it comes back? Any shot? Any chance?
Something has to happen.
Right.
Something big has to happen. I mean, there has to be something that completely shifts the way LA looks at itself. You know, it has to look at itself as like a functioning business instead of a giant scam for nonprofits.
Right.
Because a big part of LA's problem is there's a bunch of people that are in the empathy industry.
Yeah.
And they're in the, you know, we're working for this and we're working for that. And a giant chunk of their money is going to that kind of shit.
I did a great show at Oceans in Atlantic City, which is a casino there, and the owner of that casino was talking to me, and I said, what would fix Atlantic City? Because Atlantic City has some similar problems to LA, but vastly worse.
Yeah, way worse.
And he was telling me, he goes, we have just a high amount of people and a lot of social programs in one area. So you have a lot of people that are not, for whatever reason, productive, and they are living in one area, and everything that comes along with that, which is crime, which is, you know, vandalism, which is, you know, disorder to varying degrees. And he goes, you need to get rid of that in order to have a climate where businesses can thrive.
100%.
Which is what happened in New York in the 90s. People hate it. They don't want to admit it. But what happened in New York in the 90s was like they did clean up a lot of the crime, and a lot of businesses then felt better about investing.
100%. But
Yeah.
that's what Giuliani did.
That's what he did, yeah.
And he's demonized.
He's demonized. He's demonized. He hasn't. He's one of those guys where if he had just done that and died, his legacy would have been amazing.
Right.
But he's hung around for a while, and he's kind of gone into some interesting tangents. So it's one of those scenarios where it's like, had he just cleaned up New York City and then left public life, it would have been like that guy.
Right.
But he hung around a little bit and, you know, got involved.
They always have to hang around.
They always
That's what
hang
they
around.
Do.
They
It's
always
like
hang
you're
around.
going to do shows.
That's
you're always
right.
going to do
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
stand-up. you
That's
know?
right.
You're always going to do shows.
But he did such a good thing, and then it was like, just exit.
Who's also, you know, he was easy to make fun of, like the time where he was sweating and his dye.
Well, that's what I mean.
You know what I mean?
He's melting.
Yeah.
He's doing a
the hair dye
press
was crazy.
conference
Like,
in a parking
don't
lot.
dye your hair.
Yeah,
You're
no.
100 years old. It's okay to have gray hair. It's just these guys. There's so much silliness on both sides. You know, there's silliness on the left and silliness on the right. There's goofy people because the only kind of people that want that kind of position of power are a little goofy.
Right.
You don't get the best and the brightest and the most enlightened that want to be the mayor of New York City. It's
No.
it's not the
You
job.
get a lot of people that want power and they want
Yeah.
influence, and they,
Yeah.
you know, I think a lot of that, the AI stuff, which is very interesting, is starting to, I think it might, I don't know how quickly it will do this, but I do think it's going to lessen some of the cultural divides, and I think it's going to potentially unite people because I think it's going to be, the next fight seems to be about surveillance, privacy, your own rights, what rights you'll have. Like, I feel like that will be, it might take precedent. Instead of like these cultural fights that people have been having for a while, it might be like people might be demanding autonomy, you know, from artificial intelligence.
The problem is going to be if you can't demand, if you don't have a voice anymore. And this is the potential nightmare scenario that we're seeing play out slowly in England. So
Right.
in England, their freedom of speech has been suppressed to an alarming point where people are not freaking out nearly enough about it. The amount of arrests that people get over there for fucking retweets and likes. Retweets and likes.
That's so crazy to me that you could get arrested for liking a tweet.
Arrested.
Not even retweeting, because we all know if you like, you're a piece of shit. You should retweet. We all know that. Retweet it. So, and if you're going to go to jail, you might as well retweet it anyway. if you're going to get locked up,
What if you
just
get extra
retweet
years
it.
for a retweet versus a like?
I'm sure. Your Honor, my client just liked this. They were confused. They hit a button.
So as soon as you have people that feel like the reality of the world they live in is not being represented, and they're not allowed to complain about it online, because if they complain about it online, they get arrested.
Right.
So right now it's for immigration primarily. This is the big
Right.
one. But that could change. That could change.
Well, it does seem to be that they feel that there was a decision made by somebody that the public can only discuss issues in a very rigid way. They can only offer if not everyone who's talking about immigration is doing it in the most articulate way, but it's their right to do it. It's their country. They should be able to say, I'm worried about increased levels of immigration, and they should be able to say that in an ineloquent way, right?
Right.
So what they're doing now is they're policing certain words and I think certain ways of speaking, and they're calling a lot of things an incitement to violence. Now, some things clearly are an incitement to violence, but the internet, people speak in a colorful way. People talk using irony. Some people are trying to be funny. Some people are. So I think the way that they're doing it over there is they're basically looking at these statements and going, this person is inciting violence and threatening the public good by what they're saying.
Right. And then there's also people were getting arrested for saying that they were rape gangs.
And there were.
And there were. And so this new report, who released this new report that said 250,000 people? It says UK scraps police probes of legal social media posts after review says response went too far. So this is April 1st, 2026. But I just saw a thing about a guy getting arrested like a few days ago.
And we have rape gangs here, but ours are more successful.
I think that's a legal social media post is which weird. So legal social media posts.
Right.
Their law is different than our law. They don't have freedom of speech over there. So
Right.
incitement to violence is a violation of their law.
Right.
So when it says legal, it could just be they went too far for things like cartoons or something like that. That's
Right.
not clearly not an incitement to violence. But would it find out, Jamie, what that report was about the rape gangs?
I was just there for 21 days. I was in London. I went to Paris for a couple of days, but I was in London primarily for 21 days. And you talk to different groups of people, and London's a global city. It's a cosmopolitan city. It's like New York. And, I think one of the things that, they're used to diversity there. And so they're not full on panicked about different types of people coming in. But there is undeniably a real problem outside of London, also in London, but outside of London because a lot of the economy is stagnated. So you're bringing people in. It's not clear immediately what jobs they'll do. And a lot of their cultures vary greatly from the English culture in a meaningful way. And that could be the rights of women. That could be the rights of gay people. That could be the opinions about freedom of speech. That could be freedom of religion, whatever it is. There is a cultural tension there between, immigrants, migrants coming in and the very established society that's been around for a very long time.
This episode is brought to you by The Farmer's Dog. Here's a fun fact. Research shows that dogs who maintain a healthy weight can live up to 2.5 years longer on average than dogs who are overweight. Isn't that wild? And also kind of obvious that they're inching towards what they would like.
Yes.
Which is Sharia law. If you ask
For sure.
most people
Yeah.
who live in these Islamic countries. Now, again, if you're asking them, they're probably under duress. They're
Yeah.
probably terrified of saying the wrong thing.
Right.
So you've got to factor that in. But
Yeah.
at least a percentage of them
There's-
think Sharia law would be a great idea.
I think there's certainly and this was covered up too. A lot of the grooming gang scandal there.
Yeah, so we're looking at it right now. It says this is on National Review, the UK's horrific rape gangs. So is this the rape gang inquiry report? Right. So who put this report out? Members of Parliament and Restore Britain Party leader Rupert Lowe. And so the investigators had limited powers such as inability to compel witnesses or require sort of document production that could corroborate some of the most heinous victims Viewed with those limitations in mind, the independent report is a damning collection of victim testimonies that vividly portray the sexual terrorism that occurred nationwide for decades. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, this is terrible. I mean, obviously. I mean,
I think they said it was 250,000 girls.
And this was covered up because the media didn't want to inflame anger against, population of migrants.
Right.
Most of whom I'm sure were innocent of this, obviously.
Obviously.
But it is something that, in a free society, everyone has the right to know if there are rape gangs in their country and who's operating them.
But isn't that crazy that under the guise of progressiveness, you've enabled rape gangs?
Well, 100%. It's crazy. But it's also incredibly, it's not shocking because the ends justify the means approach of politics seems to be what we're doing right now. Whereas basically, if the goal is to just eliminate, whatever it's being called, like this patriarchal, white, male-dominated society, and if you want to get rid of that, and that's the end goal, a lot of people ignore what happens in the middle. Like, a lot of people aren't super concerned about whose rights are being respected in that process because their end goal really is to kind of decrease the power of people they disagree with, So, I mean, it's like, it's hard to look at this and not see a design. And I don't quite know exactly where the design comes from, but it's odd that this is all happenstance because everybody knows it's happening and people are afraid to talk about it. So I would imagine that at some point, for example, like countries like Ireland right now that are having lots of issues over this, it's, they're part of the EU. And the EU would set migration policy for Ireland. So the EU is a supranational organization that would basically say, here's how many migrants you have to admit, here's your carbon emission standards, here's your, monetary policy, whatever it is. And Ireland is kind of in that sense, they feel like they're losing their sovereignty. They're losing their ability to chart the course of their own country to a supranational organization that primarily seems concerned with the economics, because if you bring in more migrants, you can artificially grow the economy, which is what they're doing. A lot of people in Europe are not having children. So a lot of these economies are run by people that are not really too concerned about the cultural landscape of bringing migrants in. They're looking more about how do we grow this economy? How do we get cheap, help and how do we get workers? And a lot of it is you're getting third world migration. Some of it's genuine refugees for sure, but a lot of it's economic migration. People are coming for better life. Hard to blame them. But do the people that live in those countries get to have a better life? That's the question. If you lived in Ireland, do you get to have a better life? Do your economic prospects get to grow? Do your children get to own property? Do they get to have health insurance and a job and things like that? And no one seems that concerned about that. Like these citizens who've lived forever in these countries, whose grandparents have fought and died in wars to secure the freedom of some of those countries, Britain, UK, things like that. Those citizens seem to not be as prioritized as people coming in from other countries. And that's one of the big problems that they're having there.
Well, it's really interesting to watch because if there is a plan, I mean, it's not interesting; it's kind of horrific. But it's interesting in that
it can be both.
It can be both.
Sure.
If there is a plan, like whose plan? Whose plan and who's benefiting from this? Like, why would you do this?
I think it's a small group of people that concern themselves primarily with economic matters, that don't care that nation states have cultures and histories and customs, and that doesn't bother them as much. And their basic response is to just deal with it and to call everyone a racist who questions it, or to say everyone's jingoist or ethnocentric or anti-immigrant or whatever, they shut down those conversations. And I think it's because a lot of people believe more in a global world, and they don't believe in a world of nation states that have their own ability to govern themselves. They want to take that power economically from those people, and then eventually they want to take it culturally and every other way. So they just want to go around the world and say, here's the way every country will look. Here's the economic policy of every country. And if the people in those countries don't like it and they express, that on social media, they're going to get kicked off. And if they organize in the streets, they're going to use, military authority to fire water cannons at them or shut them down or use gas or whatever. And if there's a genuine resistance movement to some of it, they're going to infiltrate it and turn it into some psychotic thing, which they do all the time.
Right.
So it's hard to see it, not to sound like a paranoid nut job, but that's what I am and how I've made my living. But I think it is clearly someone's design. This isn't happenstance. None of this has to happen. We don't have to invade countries, sponsor coups, steal resources, and then drench our communities in guilt and say, now we have to bring all those people here and you have to deal with it. None of that has to happen. That's a strategy of a group of people that want to keep perpetuating this.
Do you think it also has one of the factors might be that they want conflict? The more conflict people have in the streets, the less they're going to pay attention to what the government's doing?
Well, 100%. I also think the more chaos in the street, the more likely you're going to be willing to accept
new laws,
new
surveillance,
technologies.
Yeah.
And you're going to just say, I want peace.
Yeah.
And I don't care how we get it. I don't care how we achieve it.
Yeah.
And I think that's very possible. But it does feel like it's on the road a little bit to where people want a uniform standard across. But as you've said earlier in this, it's very interesting because this uniform standard is supposed to include non-binary art students in Vermont and religious Muslims from North Africa.
Living with chronic migraine? 15 or more headache days a month, each lasting 4 hours or more. Botox prevents headaches in adults with chronic migraine, and treatment is 4 times a year. So why wait? Talk to your doctor.
Botox effects may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away, as trouble swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness can be signs of a life-threatening condition. Those with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Side effects may include allergic reactions like rash, breathing problems, dizziness, neck and injection site pain, and headache. Don't receive Botox if there's a skin infection. Tell your doctor your medical history, muscle or nerve conditions like ALS, myasthenia gravis or Lambert-Eaton syndrome, and medicines like botulinum toxins, which may increase the risk of serious side effects.
In a survey, 91% of patients wish they'd started Botox sooner. Ask your doctor today. If eligible,
Yeah.
Good luck. But I mean,
But it's amazing that the people that would be most opposed, the people that, if you do bring those people in, the people that are going to hate the most are the people that want them in the most.
yes.
They're the ones who are most likely
Yes.
to say we shouldn't have some border that keeps some person from
Totally.
coming here and no person's illegal.
And the people that want them in the most, I think, are not even the people bringing them in. They're being used.
Right. They're suicidal empathy.
Their empathy is being
Yeah.
weaponized. It's being used.
Gad Saad
People,
talks about it.
right. So people that are manufacturing this reality are using those people. These are the same people who really don't care if people in the state over have health care.
Right.
These are people that haven't spoken to their sister in 2 years.
Right.
And they care a ton about people in the Ukraine or people that are coming over from Syria, whatever. But we fucked up Syria. We put that guy in who used to be in ISIS. We got rid of Gaddafi. There's slave markets in Libya.
Right.
So we did that. We sent refugees all through Europe. We destabilized all of Europe. And, you know, you can't take us out of it. You can't take Western powers out of it. You can't take Israel out of it. You can't take the U.S. and Britain and France and a lot of other powers that have destabilized these countries and sent these people flooding through Western countries, European countries.
Yeah, fun.
It's going to be a fun next 50 years.
It's kind of crazy when you see images of France. There was a video of France from 1998 from Paris.
Yeah.
Versus today. They
Yeah.
showed like 1998 and then they showed
It's a
2026.
it's a
world.
different thing. And, you know, listen, some of that's inevitable. The world changes, different
Change
groups of people, you know, but then you look in Ireland, this guy just got beheaded in the street, which I'm against and I think is wrong. And he beheaded some guy, a migrant who had been brought in, had beheaded or damn near beheaded, tried to. And there's a video of it. And now Belfast, like, you know, it's probably quieted down now, but there were like tremendous riots. They were like burning things down because they're like, we never got a vote on this. We never got a vote on bringing the people in.
Yeah.
We never got a vote on that. No one ever asked us how much demographic change we wanted in our country and how quickly and what we were prepared to do. No one ever asked that.
People don't like to admit it, but an armed population, it's much more difficult
Totally.
to pull things off on an
100%.
armed population.
100%.
And that's another part of the problem with the UK and with Ireland and all these places. It's very difficult to have a gun.
Diversity also relies on a very productive economy. So New York City works to the degree it does because people can go out and get jobs because the economic reality of the city is that it can support a lot of people coming in. There are a lot of jobs for those people. But when you have a stagnant economy, like many parts of the UK, that's a lot harder. It's a harder sell. Harder to assimilate people into a landscape where the people there are not doing well. Like the people that have lived there forever are not thriving. They don't feel great. Their prospects economically aren't great. And now you're bringing all these new people who also are struggling to find work. So that's part of the problem.
Do you think that this is being done with a strategy knowing that AI is about to completely disrupt society?
Yes. I believe, this is what I believe. I believe no one, for example, no one's trying to get anyone in this country to own a house. No, people pay lip service to the idea, but there's a lot of people now, a lot of them are my age, who have never owned a home and never will. And no one's wants them, they've forgotten what owning a home feels like. They've forgotten what it feels like to like have a yard where you can invite people over and drink a glass of wine and smoke a cigar and watch a game. And they live in a little apartment. They type, you know, they're on a MacBook. They're getting radicalized in any direction. They're upset. They're on dating apps or whatever, but they don't feel like they have a foundational core to their life. No one has really even given them the idea that they're going to get that. So I think that's just one of the things where people they're basically saying like, no, you don't need a house and you're not getting a house, and forget what owning a house was. Like, forget that doesn't matter. And I think part of this is because they know, same thing with healthcare. There's no real movement to give anyone healthcare in this country. And if it is, it gets shut down immediately. So on the positive side, you might go, well, they know that AI is coming and that AI is going to do a lot of stuff with health. And it's going to help extend lifespans. But also on the negative side, they go, AI is going to disrupt the economy to a point where, like, we're not going to have people owning homes and cars and things like that. We're going to have a lot of people without a steady income, or they don't really know what to do. We're going to have a lot of wealth that's existed, a lot of capital, and we're going to have tremendous inequality. We're going to have a lot of joblessness. So for sure, I think that they're preparing for that. I mean, there's no way you can look at the landscape, because they're selling the country off for parts. And this is both parties, and this is like, they're selling it off for parts. So, I mean, obviously, something's coming. Something's coming, for sure. And I don't know when it is, and I'm sure the AI thing's overblown to an extent. and I think so much of our GDP depends on it that a lot of these companies are lying. But Anthropic's a creepy. These are creepy companies. You know, I mean, they're just creepy.
Well, the amount of power
Yeah.
that tech companies have in general
Totally.
is unprecedented. There's never been corporations. I mean, unless you go back to like the East India Corporation that, you know, you go back
Yeah,
in the day
right.
where they had like an enormous army.
Right.
You know?
Totally.
And they took over India and
Yeah.
Pakistan. But if you look at what they're doing, it's very different than that. You know, other than the army part, what they have is robot armies. And then they have AI, which Elon just recently said is going to be like 1,000,000 times smarter than the smartest human that's ever lived.
Right.
Like, this is the goal. The goal is to create literally a digital god. And it's going to be controlled by not us, not the collective human race. It's going to be controlled by a select few group of people. And that's weird. Like, and we're just trusting them.
Well, that's why you're not getting a vote on immigration levels, or you're not going to get a vote on, you know, like.
Yeah.
I think the reality is that eventually they're going to go, do you want safe streets? Do you want food? Do you want a little bit of money? You got to
Yeah.
do X, Y, and Z. You got to believe X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And I mean, that seems to be coming.
And it seems like if you put people in a corner, you get them scared. They'll.
Every GeoGuessr player starts somewhere.
This is what we learned during COVID. Like, they will back down. They'll go along with a lot of stupid shit.
They'll try to find comfort, and they will listen to people that they deem to be worthy.
Yeah.
You know?
They'll trust the government, which is wild. The left is the people that trust the government.
Well,
now.
you have all these studies that come out. You know, this is the thing that I love London, and the people there are great, and they're fun people and everything like that. But they have because they get healthcare. They get a little more from their government than we do. There's more trust in their government than we have in our government. And there's positives to that and there's negatives. But they're a society of rules and customs and order. And it is a bit different. So I think they are more likely to go along with the grand plan of the government more so than the United States, where we really do question more what's happening than people in Europe or the UK overall.
Yeah, but that makes sense, right? They have socialized health care. They have, isn't their education paid for completely? Isn't university?
Yeah, they have good stuff. They have a good life.
Yeah. There's benefits to that.
Totally.
There's like a balance to be achieved. I've always said that, like, in this country, it's foolish that we don't pay for higher education. Like, the more educated people, the better. Like, the less losers, the better. Like,
Part of our country is where we manufacture a lot of geniuses. We also manufacture a lot of psychopaths. That's what our culture does.
a lot of sociopaths.
A lot of sociopaths.
A lot of people that don't give a fuck about anything but success.
A lot of people that don't care about anything.
Yeah, and that's the thing that comes along with the gluttony too, right? It's
Yeah.
celebrated, and they don't even realize that outward gluttony, it just inspires all these eat the rich people.
The whole thing is out of balance. That's what I would describe America. If you had to describe it in 3 words, it's just out of balance. It's out of balance. It does it, and it's hard because we've got 350 million people. It's hard to and it's like, what do the people in Menlo Park have to do with the people in Baton Rouge? Have to do with the people in Canarsie? Like, yeah, I get it. It's a weird place. So you have all these different climates, habitats, people have different interests. But I think AI might unite people because, like, the idea of this as such a powerful force, if people don't start getting cognizant of it eventually and start, talking about regulating it or anything, I do think it is going to be, a very strange time if people, just ignore it forever.
It's going to do something weird. I'll tell you that. It's not going to be like whatever's coming over the next 20 years, no one is predicting it.
I get the feeling when you see a lot of these tech guys start adopting Christianity.
How about Peter Thiel's, that whole Antichrist thing?
Yeah, he does that whole thing.
What is he doing? He gave a fucking lecture on the Antichrist?
Gives a bunch of lectures on the Antichrist. He's fascinated with it. And a lot of those guys are moving into this interesting area of this is God wants this. Like J.D. Vance, who's not the worst person, obviously, and I think he's the sanest voice in that administration about the Iran war, for sure. I think he's by far one of the only people in there going, let's calm it down, which is why a lot of the big donors are slinging mud at him, you know? But again, it's just he just released a book about faith and reconnecting with his faith. I'm sure it's a lovely book. Haven't read it. Fun beach read. J.D. Vance is reconnecting with his faith. Great. Inspiring. Amazing. We'll get to it. Haven't read it. We'll get to it. Top tier.
Yes, ma'am.
But, you know, it's also interesting because, like, some of his donors are huge tech guys. And it's all of these worlds existing together where you have this world of people who are trying to build a god and the world of people who already believe in a god and trying to get all of those people in the same tent. That's interesting.
It is.
You know?
Imagine if that's where God comes from. If this is a natural process for human beings and their curiosity and insatiable need for technological
But
innovation.
then what happens once we get God? Like once
Just-
let's say we bring this God in, then what happens?
Nirvana.
Nirvana?
Yeah, we all merge. Becomes perfect.
All right, sir.
Interesting.
Just
So we all
sign up.
merge and that's
Yeah,
perfect?
it's fine. Don't worry about it. We're all going to merge with the machine.
Interesting. Because people do believe that.
At one point in time, cavemen had to be looking at the wheel going, man, I see where this is going to go.
Right.
This is going to fuck my whole gig up. My whole
Totally.
gig is making weapons out of stone and tying them to a stick with tendons.
Right.
And then chasing an animal and spearing them. And now these motherfuckers invented guns.
Right.
And these motherfuckers invented arrows. And
Yeah.
with every progression of technology, like
Sure.
the bow and arrows technology
Yeah.
changed everything. Horse riding. Figuring out how
Right.
to ride a horse. Well, that's like a new innovation.
Right.
You ride a horse now. Now you can move a lot faster. You can get
Right.
a lot of things done. Some guy figured out a wheel. All right, drag the wheel, put a cart on it. Now we can carry stuff with us.
Right.
More than the stuff that you could put on a horse.
Right.
Get a couple horses, they pull a wagon. Oh,
Right.
great. Hey, this guy figured out a fucking engine. We don't need horses anymore.
Right.
Woo. All
Right.
right, let's make the whole ground everywhere hard so we could roll around with these machines with internal combustion engines. And then it just keeps going and keeps going and keeps going and keeps going. And then one day it's unrecognizable, just like it is now. If you showed Australopithecus, Manhattan in 2026, they'd be like, they would freak out. They'd probably start screaming. They wouldn't know
Right.
what to do. They'd be horrified.
But do you think, like, if we showed Peter Thiel 2050, he'd go, no, that's it. Like, that's what I want. Like, whatever 20, like, do you think the guys now have a real idea of what it's going to be?
No. I think
Interesting.
I think there's a lot of guesswork. I don't think it's possible. I don't think it's possible to know what these things are going to do when they become sentient. I don't think it's possible. If Elon is correct, if Elon's correct, and there's something that's a million times smarter than human beings, and somehow or another why would we let people govern? Why would we let people build that stupid fucking rail station in California that's cost how much money and it's produced what? How much
But why
track is
would
done?
something-
Why would they
yeah.
let people do that when you could have AI do that?
But if something's a billion times smarter than human beings, it's going to go, we're not building a rail station for these fat fucks. You know? I mean,
Right.
seriously, it's going to go, why would we build a rail station for these people so they can get drunk and go fight each other?
Well, it's
How about
that.
we get rid of them?
Well, maybe it's we don't even need to do that because we can make you travel instantaneously from
Yeah.
here to there.
Right.
We'll create little mini wormholes all over the country. You don't need a car anymore.
Yeah.
You just press a button and all of a sudden you're at Starbucks. You know, we'll do something
Yeah, I mean,
very
there's got to be
strange.
some. I just look at technology and I go, it's made the world better in many ways, but in a lot of ways it hasn't. And it did stop around 2014, 2015. A lot of the new things started that came in, made the world, to me, very impersonal, corporate, sterile, and cold.
Yeah.
And the experiences that you get now, like there was like, I went with a friend of mine. We were in a McDonald's, and like you order on a touchscreen, there's nobody there. There's some 9-year-old kid going, "Hey, I ordered a McFlurry." Some woman screaming at him, "Where's the receipt? What's the receipt?" He's like, 9. He's like, "What?" There's a weirdness when you take people out of everything.
You take people out of everything, and then they have no purpose.
Right.
Especially when you consider the high number of unemployed people, checked out people, and then people that have whatever their job is has nothing to do with what they enjoy. So if they just do the job and then afterwards they're just watching television all day, that's a lot of people.
But
They're just watching their phone,
yeah,
they're playing
totally.
video games. There's a lot of people that don't have any purpose.
Right.
They don't have a feeling of purpose. They don't have a thing that they're connected to.
But some experiences are much worse now than they were
Sure.
before they were digitized. Like, I do think there was just pressing a button and getting something on Amazon is much easier, but there was something nice about going out in December during the Christmas season and like going to different places and seeing people and like the struggle of like getting the thing you want. There was something, I bet you were expending energy. You're walking around, you get a cup of coffee, you see people. If we destroy all of that, what happens to the human psyche? That's my question.
Well, if we had an anxiety meter, we could see like
Yeah.
anxiety, like levels of measurable anxiety over time. I guarantee you, from like whatever the age of the internet kicked in. So it's like what, 94 or something
Yeah.
like that. I think it probably slowly ramped up until social media came up, and then it's probably significantly higher than it's ever been before without real threats.
Totally.
Like just regular anxiety
Yeah.
from reading things on your phone and interacting with things online.
Well, people are very, attached to this idea that they have to weigh in on everything, that they have to have a fully formed opinion on everything, and the horrors of the world are on full display in front of them all the time.
yeah.
And they need to then not only view them, which is scarring in and of itself, but then they need to contextualize them in a way that makes sense.
Yeah.
Which I think is also another level of stress. Am I a good person? Do I have the right thoughts about this thing? Am I being, so that to me is also another level of stress where like you would have never had to. There were people when I grew up that just were really good at one thing. And they didn't need to have an opinion on something that was happening,
Right.
world away, because they
Right.
didn't have the knowledge.
And they weren't forced into
They
expressing
weren't
that opinion.
forced into expressing that opinion.
Yeah.
And they were able to live in a much simpler way, in a much happier way, with real, genuine connections to people. And I think the fact that nobody feels like they're able to do that now, like the generation that's coming up, the younger people, they seem better off, like the Zoomers or whatever they are. They seem to be they have a dose of nihilism, but I think it's appropriate. They're a little, they have a good sense of humor. They're skeptical. They're a little cynical. They've seen all of these institutions, churn out a lot of garbage. And I think they're into, some of the crypto stuff. They're into they're self-starters. They're not institutionalists. Everyone I grew up with and the generation directly under me, they're all institutionalists. They believe very strongly that knowledge is given through an approved, whether you're at NYU or whether it's the State Department or whether it's a board or whether it's a nonprofit that commissioned a study that proved the thing. A lot of these kids do not think for themselves. And they're not kids. They're in their 30s, by the way. And they're in their 30s or 40s. They don't think for themselves. They've been taught that thinking for themselves is bad. It's racist, or it can lead you down a road that you don't want to go on. It's whatever. It's misogynist. It's homophobic. Like whatever questions you're asking, like why do the Padres have to wear gay uniforms? Like that doesn't make any sense to me. Like as a gay person, I never said why I need the Padres to be gay. Why are the Padres gay?
What does the Padres uniform look like?
They're making them wear like gay things on the uniform.
Like pride stuff?
It's like pride stuff. I don't think it's like a dildo on their head, but I think it's like pride stuff.
What happens
where
when
you
they play in Dearborn?
It's not gonna go well. But it's like, why is Citibank gay? Why is Chase gay? What is it? Why does this help anyone? That a corporation is trans. Why is Chobani Yogurt trans? What's the point of this? I don't understand. Does this get people health care? Does this make people happy? Does this satisfy?
It makes some people happy.
It makes some people happy that I worry about because I just don't understand. And it makes more people angry. And that's why gay marriage has lost 11 points in support. More people are annoyed. They're like, we're all cool with however people want to live their lives. Most people are. But they're like, why is my bank gay?
Hello, Moto.
When did my bank come out as gay? And Like, I'm okay with it, but could somebody have told me, like, what are we doing? This doesn't make anybody's life better. It is just virtue signaling horseshit that ends up doing the exact opposite of what they want. They think it increases acceptance, it decreases it. Because you're shoving a worldview down someone's throat. And at the end of the day, it's like, if I went to a restaurant, for example, I have no problem with Scientology. On record. By the way, I like it. I like cults. Children have too many rights. Put them on that boat. Whatever you do, Sea Org, make them work. Don't rape them, but make them swap the deck. Whatever they do on that boat. And I don't have a problem with Scientology. And I don't like the people who leave Scientology and then rat on it after it got them all these movie parts. I think that's fucked up, too. I think it's fucked up. I think they're rats. And I know you've had some of them on. Sorry. But I think they're rats. If you do something for 30 goddamn years and get rich and famous, shut your mouth. Have the dignity to go to your house and shut your mouth about it. Don't then try to go on. Your new era is that you're going to dime on everybody in this thing that made you rich. Anyway, but if I went, so that's just an aside. It's just an aside. It's truly. But that's the way I feel.
Shout
it's
out
like
to Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Hangs in there.
Hangs in. Can you imagine how gross that would be?
In there.
How disgusting would it be if Tom Cruise went out and he's like, Scientology is really abused. Shut the fuck up. You're Top Gun. You're Top Gun. This worked. Whether you're gay or not, they covered it up. You said you did something wrong. They said, we'll audit you. We'll put you in a box. You're fine. Give us some money. Live on this mansion. It's all fine. But if I went to my bank and it was just all Scientology for the month of June, I would go, this is a lot. Do you know what I mean? So to me, I think it's like this weird aesthetic politics that people have where they need to pin ribbons on themselves and go, I'm a good person. I have no problem with the polyamorous orgy happening at Chase or whatever. Just shut up. This whole country right now is being torn apart by people who need to feel like they're good people and they need to project their life onto other people just live and let live. People disagree with you. I have good friends I disagree with, like on fundamental things, foundational things. And I don't care. I don't care because I think they're funny. I think their lives are funny. They're bad people. Many of my friends are not good people. I wouldn't even introduce them to other people I cared about. But they entertain me. And that used to be okay. You used to be able to go, I like that guy, he's entertaining. People go, he's crazy. He was in jail. You go, You always minimize. You minimize that. You go, sure he was. Maybe. I don't know what happened between him and her. Someone fell down the stairs. He's fun sometimes. And you should be able to do that. Not everyone's going to agree with you. Not everyone's going to agree with you. It's okay. Life is too short.
No, that you want that. You don't want everybody to agree with you.
No.
You want to live in a world of texture.
Yes.
Yeah. You want to live in a world. You want to have the Joey Diaz's of the world.
Totally.
You want to have some wild people out there. They're fun.
And the problem with the generation under me is they're all very like this, and they all went to the same liberal arts schools that have taught them like this orderly way of processing information. And they're all afraid to they say things, they say them in a very, the rape gang, they're gangs that are raping. Well, that's bad, but there's a lot of, I don't know what's been proven, and there's a lot of racism. They just always, they're so afraid of having an independent thought because they've been programmed their entire lives, they don't realize it, they've been programmed their entire lives to believe a certain set of things, and their self-worth depends on those things mattering.
Yeah.
The school you went to, the internship you got, the corporation whose dick you have to suck, sometimes literally, to stay in it. That is where they derive their self-worth from. So their entire world crumbles if you challenge any of their ideas.
This episode is brought to you by Visible. How many of you are currently listening to this podcast on your phone? If you are chronically online, like most of us are these days, your wireless network should be too. With Visible, you get unlimited 5G and unlimited hotspot, all powered by Verizon's 5G network. The perks of big wireless for half the cost. Visible isn't just a wireless plan. It's unlimited wireless designed to keep you connected and no contract holding you back. Switch today at Visible.com. Plans start at just $25 a month. Or get our premium Visible Plus Pro plan and save $10 on your first month when you use promo code Rogan, an exclusive offer for podcast listeners. Yeah, and it's very confusing for young people, because the whole thing acts like a religion. It acts like a cult, and you have to kind of go along with every aspect of it, or you'll be excommunicated.
Yeah.
You'll be kicked out, just like you get kicked out of Scientology.
You get kicked out, and if your life is, and it's sterile, and it's corporate, and it's boring, and that to me is one of my biggest problems with a lot of people that I speak to is that they seem genuinely afraid to use their mind for more than what the allotted functions are.
You mean afraid to express themselves?
Yeah. They're afraid to even
that.
entertain thoughts in their own head.
They want to avoid the punishment.
Yeah.
It's a scary punishment. Have you seen this new Army Hammer movie that is out now?
No, but
some vigilante movie.
He's great. Fan of him. Big fan of him. Think he's great. Love everything he's doing. And I like it. I like that you can't get canceled. People come right back.
Well, I don't know if he's necessarily coming back. If this movie's going to bring him back, I should say. What did he say? He said he wanted to eat girls?
He was
texting them. He wants to eat them?
I wanted to eat a couple of people. Is that a problem?
But is it real? Is it just crazy talk?
Even if it was, is it consensual or not?
Is it just saying wild things? What is it?
Listen,
what is it?
His fantasy was that he wanted to be accountable. That was his fantasy. That was his kink. Now it was fake, but if he was in a situation where it could have been real, yeah, he would have tried a heart. If Army Hammer had the money to arrange this, and some people in our country do, if he had the money to arrange it, he's trying hard. 1,000%. And by the way, doesn't make me hate him. As long as the person was dead already. I'm against it. I would never do it. But if you told me, this is how open I am to different people. If you told me Army Hammer, there was somebody died and there was a heart, and Army Hammer tried a little bit of the heart, I'd go, hey, fine, live and let live.
Do you know the story of General Butt Naked?
No.
General Butt Naked is a guy in Liberia. So Liberia is a part of Africa. I don't want to fuck this up, so let's check on this. I think what happened in Liberia is they released a bunch of slaves from the United States and sent them to Liberia, after slavery was abolished.
Right.
And I think Liberia has had a series of civil wars, really crazy, brutal ones. And in one of them, there was this guy named General Butt Naked, and Vice covered this guy. They interviewed him, and essentially now he's a priest. He's a preacher, and he gave his love to Jesus Christ, and now he's saved. But back then,
well, good for him.
He would talk about how he would go into war completely naked, and then they would kidnap children of the opposing army and cut their heart out and eat it for protection.
That's certainly an extreme way to do it.
So he did that.
Yeah.
But then he found Jesus, so it's okay.
Well, it is certainly better, and that's wouldn't the Mayans kind of do that, or was that human sacrifice?
They did a lot of human sacrifice, along with the Aztecs. What happened with Liberia? Is that an accurate depiction? I don't want to fuck this up. So, Liberia was established in 1822 by the American Colonization Society as a refuge for formerly enslaved and freeborn black Africans to relocate to Africa. Yeah, there it is. Over several decades, roughly 16,000 freed slaves known as Americo-Liberians migrated there. While envisioned as a sanctuary, the nation later faced its own internal scandals regarding forced labor and human exploitation. Yeah.
Interesting.
See if you can find that General Butt Naked guy, though. This whole story is fucking crazy. Is this it? Okay.
Jeez, yeah.
Formed his own militia of several dozen fighters known as the Naked Base Commandos, or Butt Naked Brigade, most of whom were children as young as 9, operating under the Monrovia area with his unit. How do you say his name? Blahi? I'm not sure how to say his name. Became known as wearing only shoes and magic charms, and eventually adopted the nom de guerre General Butt Naked. His fighters followed his patterns of dress, which, in line with his distorted emulation of animist tradition, believed could make one immune to bullets. To fund his wartime activities and secure a steady supply of drugs for his fighters, Balahi allegedly traded locally mined diamonds and gold to Mexican drug cartels in exchange for guns and cocaine. Let's fucking go. He conscripted many of his fighters, and according to some accounts, laced the food he fed them with cocaine, along with showing them Jean-Claude Van Damme films, and explaining to them that killing people was a game in an effort to uproot the fear of death. He and his fighters perpetrated numerous atrocities, although the exact extent of the crimes they committed have been subject to dispute. Frequently discussed the alleged atrocities he perpetrated, which, according to Balahi, including murders, cannibalism, and human sacrifice. He has repeatedly estimated that the Naked Base Commandos were ultimately responsible for 20,000 deaths, a claim which has come under criticism.
Yeah. And he's alive now, and he's religious.
He's a preacher now. Yeah.
Have him on, and I bet he's a lovely person. That's the thing.
You should have him on.
By the way, he has an open invitation. Open invitation.
Look, he's got Jesus on his shirt.
He's led a full life, and there's something about someone who has led a full life. This man has led a full life. There he is. He looks like Beetlejuice.
General
from
Butt Naked. Wow. Crazy. Imagine seeing a dude naked with his dong flopping, running at you with an AK-47 with kids' blood all over his face.
I mean, that's disturbing. But I imagine that there are very rich people in our country seeing that and paying good money to see it.
Well, one of the things that we were talking about with before the show started, we were out in the hallway. We were talking about how there's a giant chunk of the world that's fucked.
Yeah.
And what's coming into England, it's not unusual for other parts of the world. You know, if you go to Karachi, that's what life is chaos.
Yeah.
Chaos is making its way into these protected bubbles, and that's what's freaking people out.
We live in a very privileged, even the poorest and the worst, which is obviously, it's not to minimize their struggles. But if you go to any of those third world countries, you're very aware of how privileged you are to live in a Western country. And, it also makes a lot of sense why the people in those third world countries would want to leave them and go to other places for opportunity. And I think immigration's had a lot of positive impacts on America, and it's had a lot of positive impacts on Britain and other countries. And it's not the idea that immigration is all bad or all good. It's the idea that, you have to do things a certain way because, societies are fragile. This is what we're learning. We're learning that societies are more fragile. When I grew up, that wasn't a common thought, that our society was very fragile.
Right.
We thought it was very strong.
Right.
We actually thought nothing could break us. Then you look at a couple of years of a pandemic, most of the downtowns of the American cities don't look the same. Commerce has changed in a dramatic way. The Iran war proved that, militarily, our military is obviously brave men and women. They're amazing, but the changing nature of warfare has made military campaigns very difficult. It's hard to look at this Iran war as a victory. It's almost impossible unless you're completely dishonest. I don't think anyone is looking at it as a victory. So I think our vulnerability to threats, foreign and domestic, we are more aware of that now than we have ever been, how fragile societies are. So when you demographically change a society very quickly, which has never happened historically, It took wars, long periods of immigration. Now it's overnight. People have to adjust to a new cultural and sometimes economic reality. That's a very disruptive thing, and societies are very fragile, and you've got to be very careful about how you alter and change a society, because if you do it too quickly, there's a tremendous backlash, and you have to make sure that people want it changed, that people are on board with it. Not everyone. No one's on board with everything, but like, if you went to a lot of people in these countries that live in the bigger cities, they would probably be very pro immigration. And because immigration has a lot of clear benefits to them. They get food delivered all the time. They have access to a wide variety of goods and services that immigrants bring. A lot of them are awesome, a lot of great food, you know. So obviously, but again, if you went out into the suburbs and you went out into areas where the economies have stagnated, areas where maybe you've had scandals like this, grooming scandal and things like that. Sweden, whose crime rate has skyrocketed because you've brought in a lot of people from other places that are selling drugs, and not all of them, obviously, but like, if you look at that, and those people would have a much more negative view of it because they don't connect the benefits of it, because they don't feel them in their life.
Right, they were living pretty sweet.
They were living good.
Yeah.
They were living pretty sweet. They were riding their fucking bicycles and eating herring.
Pretty
and
safe out there.
Pretty safe and doing what they wanted to do. And then, you know, you have this influx of people. You now have real poverty. You now have a lot of
You
people.
also brought in
you know,
people that came from a war-torn part of the
war-torn
war.
country.
Yeah.
And not everyone's going to be General Butt Naked, who becomes a Christian pastor and is probably lovely now. You probably see him in HEB, you're like, sweetheart. Ate a few people, children maybe, but now it's better. That guy, not everyone's going to convert. Not everyone's going to be, you know, you're going to bring people in that are, people are products to an extent of their environment. Like we all are. So the idea that, like, you know, women have less rights in these countries. So the courtship rituals in these countries are different. The familial relations are different. That's just the way it is. So, and a lot of people there like that. So, you know, why would those beliefs and systems of change just because you happen to be living in Ireland?
Right.
Why would you think Irish women or British women would necessarily or inherently get more respect than your wives, daughters, sisters, whatever? And I'm not saying that it's all like throughout the entire Islamic world. I think there's a lot of diversity in the Muslim world. And there are lots of countries where there's arguments that women are safer than they are in America. But there's a lot of countries where that's not the case. And women have far fewer rights, and it's pretty barbaric. And I don't know why those attitudes would change when they are just in a different physical location.
The spectacular bizarreness of it is that the really kind left-wing people who oppose toxic masculinity,
right,
oppose this sort of society that we're talking about, this male-dominated
right.
society. Like, you're inviting in something that literally has that as its doctrine.
Well, they think it can be tamed. So here's the thing with those people. They love a challenge. This is the I can fix him version of it. And to an extent, cultural attitudes do change over time. People do assimilate to certain practices. That's not a completely ridiculous thing to think. But they really believe that once all of these people come to these countries and see how great it is to be a childless 40-year-old woman working in data entry at a large faceless corporation that's gay on Pride Month, the corporation goes gay, and when they see how happy she or he or they is living in a society where you don't own anything. You know what's interesting about family? I just spoke to a comedian who went on a world tour, and he was in India, and he was talking about how poor people in India don't live on the street, they live in slums, which it's better. It's better to live in slums than the street, because a lot of poor people are with their families, and they won't cast their family out. Family in America almost means like nothing. Like we've everything's such an individual pursuit that family means nothing. And like that's reinforced. Like I am in an argument with my father. His wife has different political views on certain things. So we haven't spoken in a little bit. My cousin's getting married. And I have a therapist now that I've had for 6 months who I don't know if it's good or I don't know if you ever know if a therapist is good or not. And I told my therapist, you know, my dad and his wife are going to be there and I haven't spoken to them, but I love my cousin and I want to support her marriage. I want to go. And my therapist goes, well, you don't have to go. So my therapist goes, if you feel like it's going to make you happy, go. So therapy in our country has become a way to kind of enable like sick people to just become selfish psychopaths. And family in America means almost nothing. And it is reinforced how little family means because like doctors will tell you, yeah, fuck it, it's your father, who cares? So it's basically a thing where like, I think when you go to these other countries and you realize how deeply rooted a lot of things are in family and culture and tradition, and then we come from a country where like almost very little is. I'm not saying people don't have great families here, but like, you know, America is about you. And it's not about, if you don't agree with your sister, fuck her. If your mother disagrees with you, block her. That's our country. And in other countries, that's unheard of. Like, that's unheard of. Like, it doesn't happen. And, you know, the comedian was explaining to me, like, in India, there's like a lot less of a drug problem in certain areas, and he was wondered why. And he goes, well, people don't want to do drugs to, like, disgrace their family, even poor people. Even poor people will be like, I don't want to be a drug addict because my family's going to think bad about that.
Wow.
Whereas here, there's people that'll shoot up in front of their parents. You know what I mean? Like, so it's just a different, culturally we've gotten to this point where people are having less children. Family means very little. So then what has replaced that? It's clearly the state and corporations.
And ideology.
So they've replaced families and communities.
Well, the ideology is your community because you're online most of the time.
Yes.
And a giant percentage of the interactions you have with people is on social media.
So I think that, like, that world, we have a pretty secular world. What is that? That is so interesting.
CBD.
I can see my nose. Clear the sky.
Interesting.
Off to work.
I thought it was something that...
No, it's a CBD vape.
I thought it was somebody gave you something that's like you're good at, about to transcend or something.
Oh, no.
I thought you were like, it's DMT.
Imagine.
I'm bored with you. I'm going somewhere else for a few minutes. When's the last time you've done DMT?
It's been a while.
Interesting. Should I do
you?
it?
Have you
Should
ever
we
thought
all
about
do
it?
it?
Yeah.
I'm going to have a cigarette.
Are you thinking about it?
I'm thinking about maybe doing it.
A lot of people have asked me about it.
It's
recently. Seems like
that
it's in the
Spirit
news.
Molecule thing years ago was an awesome documentary.
You know this Andrew Gallimore guy? Do you know what he's doing? So he's, what is his exact discipline? Is he a psychologist? He's doing these things in a country where it's legal, where you fly there and you do a 5-hour DMT experience, like intravenous. He's a chemical pharmacologist, neurobiologist, and a writer. One of the world's leading experts on psychedelics. Very interesting guy. And he's creating this place. I forget what it's called. You remember the name of the place?
A lot of people I know do ayahuasca.
That's an orally active version of DMT. This thing seems a little crazier because they can kind of regulate the dose much better and they can keep you there for a long period of time. Eleusis. Okay, so like the Eleusinian mysteries from ancient Greece. So this place, it's in Baquia. Am I saying that right? In the Caribbean, in March of 2026, and the aim is to study DMT-X and DMT entities and attempt to communicate with these entities. So one of the things that he's saying, so he was just on someone's podcast, maybe Danny Jones. He was been on this podcast as well. But one of the things that he was saying was that they keep going to the same place. That you can they're actually trying to create a map of whatever this experience is. So instead of doing it like an ayahuasca ceremony or doing it like you're smoking DMT and some sort of a psychedelic ceremony with your friends and it's a 15-minute experience, instead of that, they're having repeated experiences in the same environments. Like there's actually a place that you can go. And by regulating the dose somehow or another over a prolonged period of time, it allows you to maintain this state and keep entering deeper and deeper into whatever the fuck this is. But it seems to be mappable. Okay, it was the basement. That's what it was. So it is AJ from the Y-Files, which is an awesome YouTube show if you've never seen it before. And so he's talking about it doesn't take you to somewhere new. It unlocked what's always there. These guys they're trying to develop like maps of what this is. So they keep experiencing, they're charting out different entities that you experience, and there's a bunch of different ones that you experience. And one of them I've seen multiple times is jesters.
Interesting.
And these bizarre looking psychedelic jesters.
Interesting.
I wonder if they were the original jesters. I wonder if, like, the reason why jesters dress the way they do with these dangling things off their heads, because this is what you experience in the psychedelic state, and they're trying to recreate it. But what they've done when I've done it is mock me and make me realize that I'm taking myself seriously. Like, one time there was, like Fractal, there's millions of them. I don't know how many, and they were all giving me the finger like this.
Wow.
And I was like, and it was, and I said, I go, oh, I take myself too seriously. They go, yes. And they're going like that. That's it. It was like there's little corrections of your psyche that take place during these experiences.
Interesting.
It's very weird.
I'm scared to do it.
Well,
I'm scared I'll go in and it'll be fractals of J.D. Vance yelling
it's
at
all
me.
George Soros.
Yeah, it's all J.D.
Eating your
Vance
soul.
going, you need to learn about AI. No, I don't know. I find it fascinating.
Well, it is. It's definitely fascinating. Chase Hughes is just on the podcast, and he did it somewhere in the United States where they did some 5-hour DMT experience. And he was, it's like, changes you. Whatever you are now is a totally different version of who you were before you had that experience.
Interesting.
Which is like life overall, over, day after day, month after month, week after week, year after year. You become a different thing. You're a different person than you used to be.
Sure.
But sometimes an experience like a psychedelic experience can make it abrupt. And then you instantaneously become a different person.
It's so fascinating because we are having all these conversations about aliens and entities and demons and whatever.
I think it's connected.
Yeah.
I think what these psychedelic things allow you to do is experiencing things. You're experiencing things that are already there, that have been there all the time. You just lack the ability to see them. You're tuning into it pharmacologically. Like they're changing the chemistry of your brain. And it's not an alien chemical. That's the nutty part about it. DMT is produced by the human body. It's produced in the brain. It's produced in the liver. I think in the lungs.
The release is when you die.
I don't think it's very poorly understood. There's been some work done on it. One of the big ones was Rick Strassman. He wrote a book called DMT, the Spirit Molecule. And he did this, it was really kind of brilliant. He had an FDA study that he got, this is all like government approved study on psychedelics under the guise he wants to find out how bad they are for you.
Interesting.
So he told them, we want to study the dangers of these
drugs.
drugs.
And that's why he got all the money.
Yeah, and so then he writes his book like, this shit's amazing.
Smart.
And by doing that and then studying, they studied the Cottonwood Research Foundation. They're studying where DMT is coming from. So like the thought was that it's coming from the pineal gland. So the pineal gland is like literally a third eye in the middle of your head. But now they think it's coming from the whole brain. They don't really, the human body produces it. That's the most important part. So the human body produces this, the most potent of all psychedelic chemicals that transports you into another world. Like, how weird is it that the body produces a gateway to some other place? Now, whether it's perceived or a hallucination, the experience is the same. So you can get hung up all the time on you're just seeing things that aren't there. These are visions. Okay, maybe. Maybe what you're doing is experiencing something that's real. Like, it might not be something that you could put on a scale. It might not be something that you can measure with a ruler, but it doesn't mean it's not real. And I think we are very arrogant in our assumptions that we have an understanding of all that exists, with all that we know about bacteria and molecules and cells and mitochondria and then subatomic particles and like what there's just the reality that we've observed is so fucking bizarre. The idea that we know what's real and what's not real, and you can say, oh, it's just a hallucination. This is the reality is you go to Tim Hortons, you get yourself a donut, and you go to work.
Right.
No, I have a feeling that what that experience is you being able to see something that exists around you.
Well, a lot of people are very hopeful. I wasn't one of them per se, but this idea that we were on the edge of some disclosure, that the government was going to start telling us things about extraterrestrials, and remember that?
Well, the creepiest one that kept going around was that they had brought together a bunch of pastors to talk to them about disclosure, because disclosure is going to disrupt the fabric of society so greatly.
Right.
And the question was, what were they going to tell them? And so what I have been hearing from people that supposedly know things about UFOs was that they were told that religion was created by aliens to keep people in line, and that humans are the product of accelerated evolution, and they needed some sort of an origin story that made sense with rules and morals and ethics and guidelines to follow and something to worship, because without that, people are lost. And so that these aliens have created that.
Well, please let Trump say that in a press conference. He's the president to say that.
Yeah, I got to talk to him.
He's the
I'll have dinner
president
with him.
to get on there and go, guys, listen, we don't know what's going on. The Straits of Hormuz, they're open, they're closed, they're open, they're closed. Who gives a fuck anymore? Anyway, there is no God. You were all created by aliens, and you were told a bunch of lies about it. Good luck. Keep going to work. Markets up. Straits open, markets up.
It's not even that there is no God. It's that the God story that you've been told it's formulated in a way for your tribal primate brain to accept and understand.
Right.
And that there's probably a true story to all of it. If you go back far enough, and if you got the actual events that they were trying to lay out, there's too much of stuff that's in the Bible that is actually historically verifiable.
Totally. But do you think they didn't tell people that because they thought it would be too disruptive?
Well, here's the thing. There's a lot of stuff that, when you talk about the Bible, right, you're talking about a series of stories.
Sure.
Right? Especially when you get to the Old Testament. It's a series of stories. And some of these stories aren't in the Bible that were a part of the religious canon of the day. And one of them is the Book of Enoch. So Anna Paulina Luna told me about, she's like, you really have to read that. And I was like, okay. She was so adamant about it. I'm like, okay, let me read it. So I listened to it on tape in the sauna, which is the perfect way to do it. I'm listening to an audiobook. It's 195 degrees.
Okay.
I'm sweating my balls off. I'm dying in there. And I'm listening to this fucking crazy account that is in the same Dead Sea Scrolls as they found the Book of Isaiah.
Totally.
The same collection of these religious texts. And it's all about how the Watchers came down and mated with the daughters of man and chose them as wives, and then created this race of beings called the Nephilim, which were giants that ruled the earth. This is in the Bible. They talk about the Nephilim in the Bible.
In the Bible,
they talk about Enoch. He's referenced in the Bible.
Right.
But the Book of Enoch, the stories that are in the Book of Enoch, are fucking bananas. Completely bananas. And the only reason why it's not in the Bible, a bunch of rabbis decided that it didn't align with the Torah. The Torah or the Talmud, I forget which one. But they decided this contradicts some of the stories that are in other religious texts, so we're going to keep that one out.
Interesting.
Because it was a collection of these things that's all together.
Who are these rabbis?
Exactly.
Right.
Well, who are all these people that wrote these things down? I have this bit where I read out of the Book of Ezekiel, and there's the hilarious parts of the Book of Ezekiel, and then there's also parts that sound like they're talking about a UFO, these profound experiences, and then other things where they're talking about a prostitute. It's very funny.
Right.
But this whole thing is a bunch of people's interpretations of stories written down, passed down generation to generation, written largely intact once it was an original piece. So they found the Book of Isaiah in the Dead Sea Scrolls, and it's identical to the Book of Isaiah that is 1,000 years newer. So that was older than the Book of Isaiah that they had by 1,000 years, the oldest one they ever found, and it was verbatim.
Right.
So once they got these stories down, they wrote them over and over and over again, and priests would learn to do that, and monks would learn to do that with their religious texts. They would rewrite things over and over again as part of the practice.
And someone knows in some subterranean part of the government, they know something or many things that they're not going to tell people because it would be disturbing or disruptive.
This was the story about Jimmy Carter. No,
Right.
the story about Jimmy Carter was Jimmy Carter, I believe in 1969, he had some sort of a very strange UFO experience that was very real to him. Very bizarre, saw something.
Yeah.
And part of his thing was once he gets into office, he wants to tell people. The story is that he was briefed. They explained to him something about the reality of the UFO experience, like what it really is. And he was crying, that he wept openly. So what could that mean? Like, what would that mean? Well,
he was kind of
guy.
he was kind
of a pussy. Is that what
He was a
you're
bitch. And this Habitat for Humanity, I never understood. I thought it was.
I think he's a genuinely good person.
Of course he was.
That
He built houses
that became
for
a president.
people. Yeah, he was.
Yeah. Never enriched himself.
But he was also, if you read books about him, he was kind of an operator too. He was kind of he was into the peanut stuff, right? He was a peanut farmer or something. Yeah. You know, he was. Nobody gets to be the. Yeah, he was sweetest.
Like one of the sweetest of all the presidents.
He was still the president. But
Yeah.
so who is doing this explain? It's just the men in black people from the depths of
knows what
Raven
they're
Rock
telling
or
them the truth.
Cheyenne military or wherever
Listen,
the hell they are.
What they could be doing is covering up years of lying to Congress and misappropriation of funds for all these black ops programs, and the way they can get out of jail
Is saying
because if
it's
they go
aliens.
and if they go and tell the government, oh yeah, by the way, we lied to Congress for 50 years. There's no solid, verifiable evidence that Jimmy Carter cried. Of course, there's no solid evidence.
Jamie, stop being a narc.
He's a narc.
He's a
because
narc.
the UFO sightings
It's out
and
of
UFO readings,
control.
the Carter cried of a UFO story is based on second or third hand anecdotes. Those are my favorite, and is not confirmed by Carter himself or primary official sources. I think it's true.
I think it's true too.
Interviews about his 1969 sighting, Carter described seeing a strange light, but did not mention crying or being emotionally shattered by it. Yeah, but I don't think that's what they're saying. They're saying he was emotionally shattered by the disclosure. Cried
And then
after
you've gotta-
UFO briefing.
You've got to live with that knowledge. So he's just got to go around now and
Richard Dolan, who's by far one of the best guys to read about UFOs and UAPs. Very balanced guy and like very evidence-based guy. He includes a lot of crazy stories, but he never goes along with them. But Richard Dolan's really good. He's got a bunch of books. So I don't know if it's true. It's his podcast.
Is the Jake Barber guy real?
He's the guy that said that he actually had to move a UFO, right, with a helicopter?
Yes.
I haven't talked to him.
I was just watching it, but it's too long. These UFO guys, it's all 3 or 4 out. Like, it's not.
Well, Jesse Michaels does a lot of very in-depth ones with these guys. It has long, but the good thing about that is if someone's like really full of shit, after a couple of hours, you kind of say, you see tendencies that maybe they exaggerate or they make things up or they leave stuff out or whatever it is. But something's going on. Right? There's something that people keep seeing. There's enough radar information. There's enough video that doesn't make any sense.
We never found out what those drones were. Remember that? They were all around the bases in New Jersey and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was crazy. People were scared to fly.
People say it's a domestic. It was domestic. It was us. That's what I've heard. But then, who
Could
knows?
be China. Could be China flexing and pulling their dick out. Saying,
Right.
Check out what we have, motherfuckers. Who knows?
Who knows?
But there was a lot of things that those things were doing that we don't know that they can do. One of the things, like, they were flying for hours at a time. And so what's the fuel source? Because it's not batteries. Downed U.S. pilot reported seeing Iranian drones swarm in jellyfish formation. Whoa. Well, they're probably getting drones from, who knows, China.
China, Russia,
Yeah, of course. So they're
of
getting-
course.
So the highest end of high-end government drones that we don't know about, who knows what those fucking things can do? Multiple drones interconnected and moving as one with smaller drones below the bigger drones like legs. One of the sources familiar with the pilot's witness account told CNN, real alien shit. Another source told CNN the pilot described witnessing a minefield of drones in the air. Holy shit. When did this happen?
13 hours ago, this was.
So 13 hours ago, this F-15 got down?
He's talking and they're recording it, so I don't the actual.
Bro, how nuts is that? They got taken out by alien drones in April. Whoa. So he ejected from the aircraft. The Iranian drones hovering in the air, moving as one, in a formation that resembled a jellyfish. Fuck, dude.
Yeah, I mean, so there is a chance that it's DARPA, and it's all of these countries that are, you have these black projects, they have these secret defense projects, and they're saying it's extraterrestrial.
I think if I was running an undercover operation for as many years as these people probably have been doing, and with Eric Weinstein he thinks it's like a separate branch of physics. He thinks there's a bunch of physicists.
So where do
they've
they
hired.
get? So
This is the story
yeah.
of we went and did the crazy invasion to get these guys back.
Oh, this is
the
those
two
guys?
down pilots, yeah.
Oh, this is how they got taken out. Oh, wow.
This opens up a lot more questions.
Wow.
Right?
Right. Yeah.
They used the heartbeat thing. That was the whole, right?
That's what they said.
What
yeah.
was it?
So the heartbeat thing was the thing that they said that they were able to locate this guy's heartbeat, his very unique heartbeat in the mountains where he was hiding.
Wow.
And everybody was like, well, that's bullshit. And we're
Right.
like, I don't know. I don't
Who
know.
knows,
And,
'cause-
and it's based on some sort of quantum something or another. What is it called again?
And then the fucking White House said, did you see that today?
What'd they say?
Yesterday?
What?
That they posted something on their that they're going to announce something about quantum computing.
Oh, Christ.
Do you think that
God's about
And
to get
they were
born.
making a joke about Q with it. That's sort of why I asked if you guys had seen that.
What's the joke about Q?
Like it,
Okay. I think they have drones that move like UFOs. I think for sure. I don't,
where are they getting this technology?
I don't know.
Do you think it's possible extraterrestrials are giving us technology?
It is possible. So the reason White House will be Q posting today. What?
They're just trolling and having
Quantum
fun.
posting. Yeah.
all the way down.
On my way.
Stay tuned.
See, here's the thing about
Look how much they're
the
trolling.
QAnon
There's a lot of
people
space
they're the
between-
most committed people I've ever encountered.
Yeah, they're fun.
I've never encountered people who are so committed to anything.
The UFO people are close.
Sure. I mean, the Q people are 10 years in going, trust the plan, it's coming.
Off to work.
And you go, guys, it's unbelievable how dedicated they are to the plan, and that it's still morphing and going in different directions. And the data centers are actually prisons for people who did the vaccine. They're not data centers. They're still going. And that level of commitment is what America's about. It's about that. It's about not giving up.
Yeah.
Don't give up. Don't give up. You're too deep in to give up. My advice to anyone in that movement, stay in it. Because there's nothing good on the outside. Reality is not good. Stay in that movement. Take it as far as you can.
What would the government possibly have to announce about quantum computing?
No idea.
What was the quantum heartbeat thing? What was that thing called? How did they locate that gentleman?
Yes, my lord.
I don't remember them never coming out and saying, because people were speculating that, like, how could you even do it? I think someone came on the podcast the next day and was like, that's not how quantum stuff works.
Right, but I don't know if they know that for sure.
Sure.
So they don't really know what the technology is. But what was the technology that the government described? Because they described it as very bizarre, and there was a name for it that involved something quantum. And they said that somehow or another they were able to detect this guy's heartbeat.
Right.
Unique heartbeat from, I think it was like, was it 70 or 700 miles
April
away?
7th, this was posted in the New York Post.
Secret, never before used CIA tool that helps find airmen downed in Iran. If your heart is beating, we will find you.
Wow.
So this is it. Long-range quantum magnetometry to find the electromagnetic signal of a human heartbeat that pairs the data with artificial intelligence software to isolate the signature from background noise. And so what is the range on this stuff? Because they were saying
This was 40 miles, I think they found this guy's what their plan was.
but didn't they say the range is up to like 70 miles, something along those lines? So I don't know if you know.
How long have they had this?
Right. Is it even real?
Yeah.
But this is the thing. It's like, is it real? Like, so this is a post that's in the New York Post, and I think it was from, did someone release this as a statement? Like, what did they do to say they did it? The confirmation, okay, so.
Ratcliffe, Saturday morning. Yeah, their CIA director talking about, there goes CIA missing Americans 40 miles away. That was unclear.
Okay.
That's Trump saying that. Those are three different speeches all going in together. I guess maybe they spoke at the same press conference.
So here's the other thing. If that technology doesn't exist, right? and they just made that up to cover for technology that does exist. So maybe there's technology that does exist. That's some sort of large-scale satellite imagery of the Earth that gets down to like a grain of sand, and they can find anybody anywhere. They can just find out where the plane is, scan the area, bam, there he is.
There he is.
Okay, we don't want to say we have this.
Right.
What are we going to say? Let's say we have quantum heart rate magnetometry. Yeah, we can find
We
ghosts.
couldn't find Ghislaine Maxwell in New Hampshire.
When that came out, people were asking, why couldn't you use it?
She
to
was
find
in New
anybody?
Hampshire. Yeah, where is,
Any missing
whatever.
person.
Well, it could be that technology just recently got invented.
That's right.
Also possible.
Well, if there's still missing people, Guthrie's missing still, right? We shouldn't have missing people then if that technology exists.
That's a weird thing,
sorta
and
like
my heart goes out to
people
her, but that's the craziest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, that's a weird one. And didn't they they looked at family members as suspects, right?
I think they looked at family members. Is she back? And I think she's back
It
to
was
work.
back in the story. I don't know.
And isn't she back to work?
What did you say? There's a break in the story?
No, I think the story got updated recently. Yeah, there's something about a ransom note claim Nancy Guthrie died after abduction.
Well, you're not going to get ransom then.
Second ransom note claim she died. Yeah, this is.
Well,
supposed to be 9 hours ago.
that's a horrible ransom note.
So someone posted a note saying that she died. I want money. It's a ransom note that says she died.
What if it's she died? Just give us.
I'm reading headlines.
What
I'm
if
not
it's
reading
we're sorry
articles.
she
No.
died? Just give us what you want. It's not a specific amount of money. It's just give what you
contain
feel
no
is.
request.
It's like church. Give what you can. We're sorry she passed away. Give what you can. We're not going to say a specific amount of money.
So the note sent days after the disappearance. Oh, so this is not new.
Oh.
Indicated she had died, but contained no request for payment for the release of her body. 3 people familiar with the matter said, though the existence of the note was known, the specific contents had not been previously disclosed. So it's just the contents were disclosed that they knew that she was dead.
It seems like it's an inside thing. It seems like if someone's involved that knew them. I mean, I hate to think that, but it does feel like it's.
What was there a request for money? What was the first request?
Originally, yeah, I think it was a bunch of Bitcoin.
Well, let's find out what it was.
It's a horrible
interesting.
thing, obviously.
I'd like to know.
But it does seem like this is a inside job.
Well, someone certainly.
Yes, my lord.
Okay, the
Feels
ransom
like the
note.
family's involved. Maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah, so this is all bringing up stuff about free bet.
Ask AI. Press AI mode. You can't do it? Okay, put it in there. Put it in perplexity.
Splendid.
How much do you think they asked for? I bet 10 million.
10 million?
For mom? 5?
A splash of brilliance, anyone?
5?
Let's see.
10's a lot.
Multi-million-dollar payments in cryptocurrency, mostly Bitcoin, with amounts ranging from about 4 to 6 million and set deadlines, sometimes with escalating or else consequences.
Terrible.
Ugh.
This is insane, but think about it. Is that random? I guess it could be.
It could be, but there was some concern that it was
There
a
was
family member.
concern that it
Yeah.
was something that a family member did this.
Yeah. Who knows?
It's sick.
Yeah. The Bitcoin thing's weird too. Like you could transfer money in Bitcoin.
There was a group of people that wanted me to advertise on my podcast, and it was like a meme coin thing, and that was like a platform, whatever. And then I was like, but their like identities were shrouded in, people knew who they were, but they were also very secretive because they didn't want to get kidnapped, and they split their time between Dubai and London. And CAA, came to me and they were like, hey, they want to give you a bunch of money. And I go, what are they? And CAA is like, well, it's crypto. They don't, I mean, demons from hell. No offense. Love my people. But I was like, I got to meet them. I got to meet them and sit down and talk to them as human beings and like ask them what their company does and everything like that. And then immediately once I requested that, they said, okay, they'll all meet you in Dubai and talk to you about the company. I said, I can't, I need to know, whatever. They pulled the offer and wouldn't meet.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
so there's all these shit. Because, by the way, here's a great way to fuck someone is to advertise on their show and then go, by the way, the money came from Russia.
Yeah.
And you didn't even know that.
Well, didn't that happen to a bunch of right-wing
I'm
influencers?
sure it
Weren't
happened.
they a part of some
It's hard to
thing?
know who knew what,
Right.
but like it's great. What a great way to just make people appear compromised. So when you go, where's this money coming from? Maybe it's an intelligence agency. Maybe it's ours. Maybe it's someone else. But you start going like, all right, I need to sit down with you, have dinner with you. It doesn't mean that I would necessarily be able to know who, like, if these guys were legit or not. But the fact that they wouldn't even meet for a dinner tells me that something was up. Also, a friend of mine who's working at a company that's producing young shows, long-form shows for YouTube creators, told me that a lot of the money is coming from Democrat super PACs because they want a captive audience to be programmed politically, and not only Democrat super PACs, but like super PACs that are associated with certain issues and things like that. So what they're going to start doing is like getting behind content and, you know, funding longer form things on social media platforms and things like YouTube or whatever. And then those companies that are kind of in the background of this will then say, oh, we have an audience of 5 or 10 million people watching this. We can put political ads on it and whatever else. So I mean, this is kind of, I think, the future is going to be many things like this.
And when you can do it through something like crypto, like if you can hide your identity, like who knows if it's even a real company? It could be a company designed entirely just for influence.
It's very questionable. You have the intelligence world, you have the crypto world, and you have the world of international crime syndicates. Like they all live in that world. And I'm not saying people that are into crypto are inherently suspect in any way. Obviously they're not. But there is a lot of fuckery going on with the intelligence stuff and the crypto. It's like obvious.
Clearly. Whenever there's money, the amount of money that you can make in crypto is fucking bananas, and it doesn't make any sense, right? So whenever there's money in drugs, right? Like this is Iran-Contra. Yeah. Whenever there's money in anything, they find a way to get a part of that money.
I think what concerns people partially about this administration is some of the crypto stuff. I think people are concerned with some of the coins and some of the, crypto.
Well, Melania coin's legit.
That one I love, but the rest I worry. No, but I think it's a fair concern.
It is because it's
a
legal.
Fair concern.
It's legal, but it's like, should it be?
Is it?
Right?
Should it be?
Right.
Should it be? Should it be?
Like,
for sure.
I mean, there's some freedom to you being able to make your own coin and you back it with money, I guess. But it's also a way that you can launder money. And it's also a way you can pay people off for stuff.
And dupe people into spending their money. You know what I mean? Like, I think a lot of people, I mean, that poor girl, huh?
That poor girl, they got her.
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 I hope she did well on that.
I bet she didn't.
Really?
Probably not. Certainly in terms of what she could be doing.
Sad.
Right?
No,
because as soon as they get mad at you for something like that, well, then they don't like you anymore.
She did the wrong thing, and it's sad.
She know.
I also,
she like 22 or something?
I also don't know if she was going to be Meryl Streep, but
listen, the Cash Me Outside girl makes more money than anybody.
It's true. But I think it could have gone on longer than it. What a society we live in. I mean, that just hit me. That just hit my brain that she makes more money than anybody, and it's true.
I was listening to your take on the White House UFC card being the end of MAGA.
Yeah.
And that the moment when that guy said Michelle Obama's a man.
Yeah. Well, it's just the greatest thing if you're a deep hardcore, and I don't even mean the America First principles. I just mean you're along for the ride. You're here for the party. There's a lot of MAGA people that I'm friends with that are deep. They're not political. They're along for the party. They like the party.
Right.
They want fun.
Right.
Florida, it's 4 p.m. They're drunk. You know what I mean? Yes. And they're in for the fun, and
That's
it's
the part
fun.
Of it.
They have boat shows and regattas where a bunch of boats will go out with Trump flags. When they're watching that UFC event in their house in St. Augustine or Tampa or fucking West Palm, whatever it is, and that guy stands up and goes, Michelle Obama is a man. It's the culmination of things that they're not going to beat that. It's hard to beat that. There were houses that cheered when that happened. 100%. It was 100%.
How many do you think? Over the whole country?
It was audible in Florida. Florida, I know for sure, was audible. For sure, people cheered, and it was listen.
Like outside bars?
Yeah, and it was a party. The fights were good.
Yeah.
It's to me, it's there's this every cultural thing has a moment where it just explodes. And it's over after that. You know, it's like Hunter Thompson has that famous quote about it, where he was part of this thing, and then it just, you know, we saw it happen with, like, celebrity culture. A lot of it, like that Imagine video during COVID was kind of the end of that. Like, people are like, shut up.
Yeah.
Like, it was like they did that video and they didn't know it at the time, but people really started to turn on them. They're like, just shut up.
And there was the other one, the BLM one.
Totally. All of them.
Same
sorry,
kind of thing.
Sorry to be white or whatever it was.
Same shit.
Same kind of thing. People just said, okay, enough of this. And I do think that every movement just gets to a point where you've done all you can do. You've done all you can do. And when you are standing in the octagon of a UFC fight on the White House lawn, and you're asked if you have anything to say, and you scream, Michelle Obama's a man, that is the clock has struck midnight. That's that. I mean, I don't know what else you could do.
That guy, Josh Hokett, you know, that's like, he's got a shtick. Like, he's got a character that he does.
Fun.
The Incredible Hulk. And so he's basically like a pro wrestling bad guy who also is a really good fighter.
Right.
So there's a real problem there.
What should have happened?
Winning.
Yeah, and he says crazy stuff.
Well, they probably, in retrospect, if they wanted to avoid this, probably shouldn't have had him fight on the White House lawn.
Sure.
Because if he said that at the T-Mobile Arena or in Madison Square Garden, outrageous.
Sure.
But not that big a deal.
But it's But here's what should have happened afterwards. Michelle Obama should have made an Undertaker-like entrance. Let's go in.
All of a sudden, the lights go out.
The lights dim.
And then the light goes on the balcony.
If Michelle Obama...
And she comes on a cord. She flies over.
If Michelle Obama had made an Undertaker-like entrance and got in the stage and then body slammed, like, can you imagine... Unbelievable.
That would have been amazing.
The country just exists for ratings now anyway. It's all it exists for. It's just that's all we're doing anymore. That would have been unbelievable. Here it is.
This isn't the Undertaker, but this is what you guys, I think, were supposed to stick.
Yes.
She's in the ceiling the entire time.
Michelle Obama comes down. Right. You see Trump starts doing his dance. He's doing his Trump dance. Michelle Obama comes down. She's got a cape.
Bro, it would be the end.
It would have been unfucking believable, and she would have been president next. She would have been president next with no election. No election. Vance is going to stand up to that. She should have descended from the rafters in a cape, fought that guy. You know, choreographed.
Yeah,
little
just
fake.
body slam him.
It's fun, fake, and then she does an uppercut, and then he's on a cord, and he sails out. Unbelievable. Missed opportunity. Missed opportunity. Because why not? Why not have some fun?
Yeah, why not?
Why not have a little fun?
There, they said, or some wrestling event there. They could still pull it off.
They could do it. And if she's smart, she hears this, and she's on her phone with her people. Don't sue them. They were going to sue him. They thought about suing him. It's like, what? Stop with the suing all the time in this country.
Yeah.
Do something fun.
I agree.
Too much suing.
Well, there is this moment where the UFC thing was going on, where like the planes flew overhead, where it just like, I'm like, is this even real?
It was wild. It's such an amazing spectacle. It's hard to top.
It was pretty amazing.
That's what I mean.
Like, as a
totally.
piece of entertainment,
of course.
It was also the only UFC card in the history of the sport where every fight was a knockout.
Yeah, this is senior prom. Everyone's got to go to college next year, and wherever they go, this is it. This is the party.
Like Jack
There's
and Diane.
a moment after senior prom or, some party that you have senior, the summer, and you're looking around at all your friends, you're all high and drunk, and you're looking around, and if you're smart, and most people, a lot of them have this thought, they go, this is never going to be like this again.
Right.
This will never be like this again. We'll never be able to get together on the White House lawn and do motocross and watch UFC and call Michelle Obama a man. It started when he walked down the escalator. We went through a lot of things. The guy almost got shot. Who knows who did it? No one knows. No one seems to care. Whatever, fine, moving on. But he's gone through many iterations. He's been out, he's been in. It's the most interesting story, really, in recent human history. And this is the party to throw. And it's wild because we're not going to win the Iran war. It seems very clear that it's very difficult to imagine a scenario where we come out with like a decisive victory. So instead of that, we did this.
How is there no more open investigation into the assassination attempt? What happened there? Because that's where Kent said that he was told to stop investigating.
Do you want it honestly done? Do you know who you put in charge of it if you want it truly? And I'm being very serious. If you want an honest investigation, put Israel in charge. Joe, if you want it done right, have them do it. That's all I'm saying. Just have them do it. Just have them do it. I would trust.
You think they should look at the Charlie Kirk assassination as well?
I would trust their conclusions. Have them do it. That would be my thought. Just a fun thought.
There's a lot of people that think it was a hoax and that it was a setup.
And if it was, I've said on my show, just tell us how you did it, because that's fun too. It's fun.
Pennsylvania men shot during Trump rally in Butler sue the United States. 2 men who were wounded in the shooting. They're suing. James Copenhaver and David Dutch were shot during an attempted assassination of Trump. Their attorneys filed federal lawsuits against the United States for their life-altering physical and emotional injuries, claiming those injuries were the direct result of negligence on the part of the United States Secret Service. Dutch was shot in the stomach, while Copenhaver was shot twice. Yeah,
Does the suing ever end in this country?
But there's an argument that was negligence.
Remember that woman, Kim Cheadle, who was in charge, and then they put her back in a bunker?
Who?
She was in charge of the Secret Service, Kim Cheadle.
That's right.
She was like Dick Cheney's assistant.
Yeah, she said that the roof was too sloped to get officers up there. But they shot the guy and
he didn't even fall. He didn't roll off the roof. Like the whole thing.
Well, the slope of the roof that they were on was steeper.
If it's a faked assassination attempt, I don't care. I want to know how it was done, and so does the rest of America. Produce a special where Barry Weiss interviews Donald Trump about how they faked the assassination attempt. Put it on CBS, where she's doing, and she's taking over CNN now. So I think, and she's now isolated herself on the 6th floor of CBS, where she can no longer see the staff, and they cannot approach her. And
is that true?
That is correct, and she's guarded by guards.
What?
Yes.
Where'd you hear this?
This is in the news. She's in a bunker like Dick Cheney in the Peoc during 9/11, except it's Barry Weiss at CNN, surrounded by guards, and no one can. And it's like a militarized zone. She's in a militarized zone.
Barry in the bunker and Ellison at the gates.
Yeah.
Is this real?
She's unbelievable. By the way, I like her more now, and she hates me, and that's sad.
Why does she hate you?
Well, I've said things, but here's the thing. I like her more now than ever.
Did she start hating you after your hilarious impression?
She's turned on me. She turned on me a while ago.
It turned on you how?
She texted me and was like, "You're part of a world in which people are anti-Semitic," and I'm like, "Well, what am I doing?" And she's like, "You're part of this thing," and I was like, "Well, that's like, what is this guilt by association? I don't like this."
Part of a thing that's anti-Semitic.
Yeah, she's like, "You're part of a cultural space of anti-Semitism," and I'm like,
"So is she connecting you to anti-Semites?"
She's connecting me to all these different people, because the thing that she hated and the thing that she crusaded against was this whole idea that, like, she's applying the same principles that she supposedly didn't like, which is like, if you're willing to have a conversation with somebody, you endorse every one of their views. Or if you question something like Israel, you hate Israel. Or you hate Jewish people, which is insane.
Right.
And I thought she was the one who was like, we should have nuance on the trans issue. What happened to that?
Right.
What happened to being able to question gender ideology and all these things? Like, where's the nuance? Why aren't we holding space for nuance, Barr?
CBS News boss Barry Weiss poised to oversee CNN editorial operations. Yeah, this is what he just said, right? Yeah, I saw that.
But she's living her best life, as people would say. This is what she was meant to do. And when someone steps into their truth, I support them. And she has stepped into her truth. She's exactly where she should be, in a bunker guarded by the military while she systematically destroys CBS. She's stepping into her truth. This is what she was there. She was put there to destroy it. She was obviously put there to destroy it. She wasn't put there to make it work. She's put there to just destroy it. And she's doing it.
Do you think they understood the amount of pushback that they were going to get?
I don't think they. I think they said, "Listen, let's just put her in there and see what happens." Because who cares? Like, it's like these legacy media institutions are dying. They're not turning around. No one's going back to watching the evening news, and they know that. These are billionaires, they're not idiots. The Ellisons are not dumb. They said, "Let's have a little fun while this thing goes."
It says she took the helm of the struggling organization last month with a mandate to shake it up following David Ellison-led Skydance takeover of CBS parent company Paramount in 2024. Paramount Skydance bought Weiss' online outlet, The Free Press, for a cool $150 million as she became editor-in-chief of CBS News.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money for the Free Press.
Well, no, because if you look at the podcast ratings, it was you, and then she was number 2.
Wow.
So that's why. No, she would get 7,000 YouTube views. And it seems high. It certainly seems like a lot. But, you know, when you take into account her cultural impact.
It's interesting because, like, when it came to her, like, pushing against woke ideology that infected the New York Times, she seemed really reasonable. And there's this very famous clip of her talking to Brian Stelter, where she talks about the world gone crazy.
Right.
Remember that? The world gone mad?
Yes.
Where she's, like, very brilliantly lays out why, if this is what you're saying, you know, when people are saying that silence is violence,
right,
and not actual violence is violence,
right,
the world's gone mad.
Right.
And she lays these all out. It's so brilliant.
Well, there's got to be room for nuance. Like, October 7th was horrible. Hamas is not good. We all know this. However, you also cannot look at what's gone on the last few years and think that Israel has not, number one, perpetrate, you could call it, I call it a genocide. People can call it anything they want. Doesn't matter. It's a campaign of mass murder where a lot of people have died. Civilians have died. Many children have died. People that are innocent have died. And they're starting to do something similar in southern Lebanon. And they're now talking about Turkey. Going, by the way, Turkey also is Turkey's a NATO fucking country. So the idea that any criticism of Netanyahu or the Israeli government or Israel or our relationship with Israel or the money makes you anti-Semitic is an insane thing. It's the exact thing that she fought against in race and gender. She fought against that Manichaean good and evil, black and white. She fought against it, and she was right. She was correct to say you should be able to have conversations about when is it appropriate for a child to be exposed to certain ideas, and when should they be able to make a determination about how they want to live their life, and like when is it appropriate for people to call, you know, to designate between a protest and a riot, and the silence is violence, and all of that stuff. She had really pretty logical opinions on all that stuff, but when it came to that one issue, she seems very incapable of understanding any nuance or gray area or complexity regarding this particular issue.
No, she is all in for Israel,
and that's fine. That's her choice, and I get it. But it's so obvious when a Mark Levin goes, the president's great because we're going into Iran because the president's great. He's the greatest leader of all time. And then he goes, well, this didn't work out like we thought. We're going to make a deal and we're going to try to, you know, and then Mark Levin goes, this is a failure. This is a blunder. This is a strategic thing. And it's like, for who? Is it for us? It's not a failure for, like, it's clearly a failure for us, but like, it seems like the bigger failure would be for Israel that wants Iran neutered because they have aspirations regionally, globally, but certainly regionally. So who's it a failure for? And that's a fair question. And I think it's like, you've got to be able to have that conversation without being tarred and feathered as someone who's like a conspiracy mongering anti-Semite, which is like there's a group of people that are, but a lot of people just want sanity And this is not sane.
And just like you were talking about with the banks forcing that shit down people's throats, that it's going to make them,
Yes.
Same thing.
Nobody understands blowback. Like the CIA term blowback, when you like go into a country, kill everyone, and then go, you like us, right? And they go, no, not really. We killed your mother, but we're sorry, but you want the mall? We're going to build a mall. They go, no, we're gonna bomb you and try to kill you. This is blowback. There's blowback when you shut down conversations, and in order to shut people up, you got to pay them or kill them. That's the only way to do it. If you don't pay people a lot of money or kill them, they're going to talk. And if you limit that, they're going to get angrier, and the blowback is going to be intense.
Well said.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's entirely accurate.
CBS News, I'll go on. That's the thing. I have no beef with her. I like her. I like that she's in a bunker. I will go on to that show. I'm there.
The things that I thought was hilarious, it was some fake story, was that they were going to bring me on for 60 Minutes.
Everyone keeps saying that. I texted you about it. I'm like, are you doing 60 Minutes? I thought that was wild, but why not? I mean, half the staff is left. That guy, Bill Pelly, just got out.
Yeah.
She got out, and then she's got that Dokapol, whatever his name is, in the evening news, crying like a psychopath.
Who's that?
He's the guy who does the CBS Evening News, and his first episode, he's in Miami, and he's crying. Can you get that up? It's unbelievable.
Why is
he's
he
the
crying?
anchor of the news.
Why is he crying?
He's crying because he starts talking about his family and how he grew up in Miami. It's unbelievable. This is the guy who was selected to run the CBS Evening News, to be the anchor of the CBS Evening News. And like he does this thing where he's in Miami and they take him out of the chair because they want to start, she's shaking it up. Barry's shaking it up. So instead of sitting at a desk and doing the thing, they bring him to Miami to like visit his childhood places. And he starts sobbing in I forget, it was like a restaurant or something. Jamie, you can find it.
Have him crying for some reason.
He's crying in like a restaurant, or he gets like choked up, and it's deeply uncomfortable, and it's really weird. And he starts talking about how he had a hard childhood. It's like unbelievable.
This is the guy? Embarrassing first day's CBS Evening News savage by staff. It's state TV. Whoa. A conversation with one of his handlers during an ad break, Pete Hegseth said during his interview with Tony, how do you say his name?
Dokapol.
We did it at Barry's request and because CBS News did something right on this.
I wish you had him crying. I wish you had him in that restaurant.
So his Marco Rubio's moment is what he's talking about? No.
He's in Miami, and Dokapol, this is psychotic. You have to watch.
So he just keeps crying?
It wasn't showing the video.
Maybe that's his thing. Like George Hamilton was tan all the time?
He's crying. He's talking about... Yeah, look at this.
It?
Look at that. This is the anchor of the CBS Evening News.
So he's being interviewed?
Yeah, can we listen to this?
I can't. Facebook's weird.
Damn it.
It doesn't let me control the player because
there it goes.
Show up.
Let me get a second here.
You're okay.
Yeah, take it from the beginning so I know what he's crying about.
What? It makes me emotional. It's so funny. I didn't think it would catch it.
This is your favorite place in the world. Why? Why South Florida and Miami?
What? It makes me emotional. It's so funny. I didn't think it would catch it. Because you only have one childhood, right? So, let me get a second here.
No, you're okay. I can relate. This is home.
People will, to help people understand why I have such a reaction. Florida is where I grew up. We didn't get a lot of sleep. So.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, my grandmother's here, my father, my mother, my aunts and uncles, cousins. And it's where I would have spent all of my childhood, but we left. Because of my father, he got in some trouble with business. This is like, we laugh about it now, but he was a drug dealer. But he was a drug dealer, he went to jail. It's kind of a ha-ha thing that we say now, but the reason it's so emotional for me is because I feel like I was robbed.
It's kind of a ha-ha thing. He's this head of the CBS Evening News. He's the anchor of the CBS Evening News. This is what drives everyone so crazy about the world, how fake everything is. That's the guy? That's the best guy for the job? This is, when I grew up, you would go see Whitney Houston and go, fuck, she's good. I can't sing like that. Who cares if she smokes crack? She deserves it. You watch this and it drives you insane. You go, this guy's crying, his father's a drug dealer. This is who's the best guy for the job. He's gonna have to report on like murder, war, famine, whatever, and he's crying in some Cuban restaurant about his drug dealer father, so they had to leave Miami. No one believes anything's real anymore. This is a huge problem in our world. People go, that's the guy? That's the anchor of the CBS Evening News? It's crazy.
Well, the other guy who was on, a bunch of people attacked him after he left, right? So he left, and apparently he made it very public.
Yes, big, Scott Pelley or something.
Big public
yeah.
So what was he pissed about? He was saying something about they were going against science, or some of it had to do, I believe, with climate change. Some of it had to do with a bunch of other things that he disagreed with where the news organization. Let's find out what his exact complaints were.
Yeah, let's find out. I don't know what they were, but Barry chairs the meetings there and really goes on and embarrasses herself, and on the calls and stuff has no idea what she's talking about. And
so here it is. Following his criticism, news editor Barry Weiss, 60 Minutes executive producer Nick Bilton at a staff meeting. Pelley was fired by CBS News. What did he say? When CBS fired Pelley, Bilton wrote a cover letter, which obtained by the New York Times. Bilton stated as follows: "Your antipathy to the future of the show has come through loud and clear, and I have heard you. Therefore, write on behalf of CBS News Inc. to inform you that your employment with CBS is terminated for cause effective immediately." Next day, Weiss said, "I'm only interested in working in a newsroom that is built on trust and mutual respect." Okay. So what did he say? Pelley accused the new CBS leadership of instructing him to insert falsehoods into a political story and to include assertions that were not verified, instructions he says he ignored. The collapse of values at the top has become untenable. The leadership at 60 Minutes is no longer recognizable. The principles I hold dear are gone, and so I must leave as well. I wonder what exactly they meant, though, by the falsehoods in a political story and including assertions that were not verified.
Well,
here it is. Yeah. It says, the story CBS intervened on was a report about the 2026 protests in Minnesota, and the falsehood CBS asked for was to describe protester Renee Good as driving her car toward the officer who killed her, which Pelley said contradicts video evidence of the event. That's correct. It seemed to me that the lady was trying to turn the car away from him, but it did brush up against the guy, which is enough for him to decide to kill her.
Well,
and, but it was not, she was trying to run him over.
No, and I think
But however, that guy had been dragged by a car very recently. Totally. So he's probably filled with PTSD. He almost fucking died. I think he got dragged like 300 yards, rather.
I think it's fair to ask at this
300
point.
feet?
Yeah, but I think it's also fair to ask at this point, like, what is the media? Like, what is the media? Like, all due respect to Barry Weiss, but like, so it was a heavily inflated price for her blog that she sold and YouTube channel, whatever. There's clearly a political agenda to this. You have billionaires that own all of these companies, and we're asked to believe that like she's the most qualified for the job, even though she's never ran a newsroom. She didn't like work her way up the ranks. She's an op-ed columnist, an opinion writer, and stuff like that. Great. She made a lot of sense. We said it before. And then she hires this guy who's crying in a restaurant in Miami about his dad, and it's like, who the hell's that guy? So I think it's fair to ask, like, do we have any trust left in these institutions? Do we have any trust left? And like, people that work there are leaving and saying, I'm being asked to insert things into this that isn't true?
Well, just that alone, like driving the car towards the officer, that's just not technically correct.
Right.
It seems like she was steering it away. Why would they want to say something that's not correct when you could just see it in a video? Like, if you were running a newsroom, that would be the last thing you would want to do, is contradict something that's obviously verifiable. So that would, for what reason would you sacrifice your credibility? Because that's essentially what it's doing. It's such a short-term play.
Yes, but I'll tell you exactly why.
Okay.
Because their main demographic is 70-year-olds who are having strokes on their couch. They're not verifying this. They have a very old audience that is not online savvy. They're not looking at many angles. They have cataracts, and they're hearing this, and it allows them to dismiss it as, well, she did the wrong, she drove justifiable shooting. Yeah, I don't think they're...
But somebody's motivating them to do that for those people.
For sure, yeah.
Like, why?
Yeah, well, because she's in the tank for Trump, because Trump promised, or maybe didn't promise, but like whatever, he's useful in the sense that he's going to go in and topple the regime in Iran. He's going to sue all these, or he's going to bring Harvard College to heel for whatever the hell they did. And... she believes that, and again, a lot of this is just connected to her view that, Israel's interests are always 100% concurrent with America's, and Trump gets that, and he understands that. So she's in the tank for Trump, which, by the way, if Biden would have invaded Iran, she would have started protecting him. It doesn't seem like she doesn't care that much about a ton of issues. It seems to be that this is her big issue.
That's a disturbing thing to a lot of people. Like, how much influence do they really have on this country? That's what creeps people out, because I think no one even really considered it before October 7th. It wasn't, I'm sure people considered it. Nick Fuentes considered it. But it wasn't like it was an openly discussed thing amongst young people.
Right.
It wasn't until we started realizing, first of all, it was AIPAC. It was the weirdness of the New York City mayoral race.
Yeah, of course.
Very weird. Where they were all like, we're going to visit Israel. Like, what?
Well, it's also in direct opposition to the stated goal of the Trump administration, which is to repair the United States and to make it great and to elevate it and to focus on the United States and to not go into Middle Eastern wars, which was a huge, very popular plank of his platform, and to not waste money and saddle ourselves with debt and mire ourselves in these unwinnable wars. And there was such a gaslighting campaign. The Secretary of State came out after the Iran war and goes, well, Israel's going to attack them anyway, and our bases were going to be vulnerable, so we had to join. And then he went, no, I didn't mean that. I didn't really mean that. We're partners, and we both think it's a great idea. And there was tremendous pressure on him to do this.
Yeah.
And, it hasn't worked. And it's clearly not in the interest of the United States to be in a Middle Eastern war with Iran. Tons of Jewish people don't believe it is. Lots of, people from all walks of life don't believe it. But there's an ideological group of people that donate a lot of money and that are incredibly powerful, and they are really pushing this. They're pushing troops and they're pushing nukes. They're like, or unconventional weapons, like crazy bombing campaigns. They're pushing troops on the ground. They don't care what it takes. Iran has to be either completely destroyed or it's just got to be a chaos zone. But for the regional ambitions of Israel, it can't exist. So, I mean, again, and not in a paranoid conspiratorial way, because I don't like the victim stuff either, as a bunch of people in America being like, I can't get ahead because Jewish people are successful. I think that's a stupid road to go down. That's a victim road. I hate that. I hate it when gay people do it, or anyone, any group of people. I hate when they drench themselves in victimhood. I think when you become a victim, you lose autonomy over your life. It's insane. But I do think there's a fair question to ask about what is the motive of certain massive big donors? Is the motive the strength and prosperity of America, or is it the strength and prosperity of Israel? That's a fair question.
Yeah. And, like, what about the rest of the world? Like, how much are we putting ourselves at odds with the rest of the world?
Indescribably the worst PR ever. And, you know, people cannot justify, you know, you've got to be a very ideological person to justify, you know, southern Lebanon, Gaza, Iran, perhaps Turkey. This is starting to feel like this is like a friend you have who you make excuses for a certain amount of time. And then your wife eventually goes, they're not allowed here. You can't go out with them. They're a problem. They have a fucked up home life. I know they're fun. I know you share values. I know that you enjoy each other. You've known each other for a long time. But here's the deal. They're not coming to the house, and they can't be around the kids. Because, you know, that's what it's coming down to.
Well, it's even worse than that. The thing that drives me crazy is the negotiators. When they get negotiators, then they wind up whacking them.
They kill all the negotiators.
And
They're
then
killing
Trump
the
tells
Iran
them,
deal.
stop killing the negotiators.
Yeah. And I mean,
stop
is this-
bombing Lebanon.
Is this Iran deal going to work? Is it going to work? You know, stop bombing Lebanon. I think we're at odds now. We're in the last 2 years. We're at odds with Israel for the first time, where Trump is really at odds with them, and he's had enough. And I think he is starting to understand that his legacy will be permanently tainted if he doesn't find a way to extricate us from this war. And I think on the other side, and Vance, again, for all the disagreements I might have with Vance about certain things, he is one of the only people in that administration who does push against the continuation of this war, which is why a lot of those neoconservative donors try to destroy him because of that. I don't love his tech alliances. There's a lot of things I don't like about him. But there's a lot of things I think are good about him. I think and it's not like I don't like about him per se. I worry about, you know, some of his relationships.
How many of these relationships you think are like necessary for survival?
I'm sure all of them are, and that doesn't mean but they still need to be criticized and looked at.
Oh yeah,
and they 100%.
Oh, not justifying it at all, but I'm
totally.
saying I have a feeling like no completely autonomous person is ever gonna make it through that maze.
Never. But I think the job is you turn the heat up enough where maybe if everyone's going to do 10 horrible things, they do 2.
Right.
So I think it's certainly the job of anyone who looks at this stuff to look at it and go, yeah, what is going on? What is happening? But I will say, for all of the tech, you know, things that I find a little, you know, it's a little like, what? I do think that, to his credit, he's the only one in there. And you can tell, and it's not that I have some inside knowledge. They're only he's being attacked the most by the people that want the war to continue.
Yeah.
And I think he knows his political ambitions will be completely destroyed by a continuation of this war. So I look at all these people not as human beings, even though they are human beings, but I look at them as like they're running the show, they're running the country, so they all have ambitions, and it's hard to know their hearts or heads or how they feel from one day to the next. It's very difficult. So I think when you look at them and you go, yeah, he's calculated and ambitious, but he also is the one being attacked by people that want the war to continue. Tucker Carlson, who again, I have agreements with Tucker, I have disagreements with Tucker. The attacks on him are insane. The attacks on Megyn Kelly are wild because of this issue. It's not a myriad of issues, it's this issue.
Yeah, undoubtedly. And it's weird. It's weird because it's so transparent. It's so transparent, and the whole world is seeing it play out. And it's like the amount of gaslighting that you have to keep pumping. It's not sustainable.
Well, to say that this was not in the interest, this was in America's interest, you have to jump around logically so much.
Well, this is also the problem with the justification of what happened in Gaza. When people will try to say Israel, like Gad was saying, they're doing the best they can. Like, look at the drone footage. Fly over that. That's the best you can do. That's crazy. Like it's better. Is that better than a nuke? Because I don't think it is. It's
no.
like it's
inhumane.
It looks like the damage of a nuke just spread out over 2 years instead of one blast.
It's inhumane. It's evil. It's children being killed. It's mothers being killed in front of their children. And by the way, October 7th was inhumane, but I shouldn't have to keep doing that.
Of
Do you know
course
what
you
I
shouldn't
mean?
have to do that, but it's also
Yeah.
October 7th. You know, the people that got killed, those were the ravers, right?
Right.
So those are the people that were anti-Netanyahu.
Totally.
Those are not the people that were
They
like,
also killed, I think, probably a lot of they dragged people out of their houses.
oh, they
and-
killed a ton of people that
it's
were
a bad
complete.
situation there.
Like, it's also like, why did it take so long to respond to that?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, this is another very interesting, very important question,
Yeah.
because there's a lot of people that say it's a state the size of New Jersey, and the security failures are they're pretty wild, and there hasn't been a real investigation into them, and Netanyahu's kind of prevented that. And they've kind of made it illegal to question that in Israel. Like, people were like writing about that and going, what the hell's going on? But like,
It's
no-
illegal?
Well, they've made a law, and you can look this up, about things like this in Israel, because during wartime, they haven't had have they had an election?
No.
Since October 7th?
No. Right?
Right. They
It's
haven't had an
suspended
election.
because of the war, right?
Right. And the Ukraine hasn't had an election. Nobody's had an election. So if I'm living in a country and the leader of my country just wants to be in a war forever, there's no democracy?
Well, you know, Clinton said that. Clinton said that
Yeah.
about Netanyahu. He said he
Yeah.
wants to maintain a war. I mean, he said it openly in an interview.
Right. And
So
then
he
an
can maintain
intern.
power.
And then a nice chubby intern showed up.
Oh, I wish.
And a
I wish
nice
I could go back
chubby
in time
intern
before
showed
the
up.
internet and all these busybodies was around. He was the first guy to go viral.
So I mean, that's the thing. You don't have elections. You don't have people looking into things. And by the way, that's not the only thing that should be looked into. Look into everything.
Right.
Where are the 9/11 docs? What happened? Can
Right.
we know? Why can't we know
Right.
anything? Why can't we know anything?
Yeah.
You know?
This is all of it. It's like,
Release all. We're all adults. Release it. Let's see what happened.
But don't
I'm
you
sure
think
it's
that this is-
fine. I'm sure no one did anything naughty.
I think this is all kind of breaking, though, and I think that
It's
one of the
breaking.
things that's happening with AI is like all these things that they are protecting us from. We're gonna find out that stuff.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, I met you in 2019. The first time I met you was 2018. Big J. Okerson was opening for you in Toronto.
Oh wow.
Yeah. But then I met you in 2019. And that's what, 6 years ago, 7 years ago? Mm-hmm. There were cracks of it breaking then, but almost invisible. Like you couldn't see them. Now you have full on, like, huge sinkholes opening into the reality that most people have accepted for their entire life.
Yes.
Big.
Yeah, big.
Big.
And you see, like, this Tulsi Gabbard, this press release that she did, this
Yeah.
conference where she's talking about Fauci and
Sure.
what he did and all.